Could it be? For me, your man, Louie Tee. Welcome to Washington Football Overtime. I, of course, am your set man, Louie Tee. Thank you for joining me. Well, dressed in all black like the Omen, which means we took one on the chin, but you don't see the black background today. Why? Because I'm a little bit more optimistic. That's right. Expected to lose this game. Thought it would be worse than it was. Actually thought we played really well and encouraged for the remainder of the season. If we can give this type of effort moving forward, get some guys back healthy, I don't know, maybe, just maybe, we'll have a chance. And I know some of you are saying, what the hell are you talking about, Louie Tee? We'll get into that as the show progresses. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. We'll see what kind of questions you guys ask and what your comments are. And maybe they'll lead me to talk about some of these things that I thought were positives from today. Or maybe we'll go down some kind of negative rabbit hole and we'll explore those different avenues. Either way, let's see how you guys felt about today's game. And I don't want to step in the way of any of your comments. So let's get to the proceedings this evening. So we start out the show with a super chat here from Gideon Wayne. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Gideon Wayne, who writes, I thought Heineke played a lot better. He has heart. I did too. You know, a lot of people are going to be ragging on him today. Yeah, he should have stood up and walked in the end zone on the touchdown run instead of diving. Yeah, you know, there's a lot of things that he could have done better. He was high a lot today, left some guys out to dry. Sure. You know, J.D. McKissick is lucky he didn't get his head ripped off like 2 or 3 different times in this game because Heineke left him out to dry. Terry could have had a catch and run on a pass that Terry had to go climb the ladder and go get because it was a high ball. But I thought Heineke played well today, better than he did last week or the week previous to that. This is the kind of Heineke we need to see in order for us to have a chance. He gave us a chance in this game. He giveth, he taketh away. We understand that. He's a young player. And I thought you saw some of those young, immature things in this game from a guy that hasn't played a ton of football, maybe doesn't know some of the rules in the game. So I was encouraged by what I saw from Heineke today. That's the Heineke that gives us a chance to win. And I think you ask any player in that locker room to a man. I saw Jonathan Allen go up to him at the end of the game and say, hey, good shit, man. And Heineke told him, yeah, nah, man, appreciate it. Like, they know they can win with Heineke if he plays that way. If he plays like he did last week or the week before, we got no chance with him. I thought he gave us a chance today. Thank you for the super chat, Gideon Wayne. F. Altus, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat, F. Altus, who writes, I know you're Ron's plan, Lou, but we are a really poorly coached team. Heineke dropping at the 1, St. Juice not getting the pick and grabbing the wide receiver. If we just kicked field goals in the red zone, we are in this game with 2 minutes left. Embarrassing. So there's a lot to unpack there with that comment. So let's go through it one by one. Ron's plan, you say that this team is poorly coached. I disagree. I think there are some things that could be done differently, but let's go through the things that you think make this team poorly coached. So number one, Heineke dropping at the 1. That's not necessarily a coaching issue. That's a Taylor Heineke not knowing the damn rules issue. Okay. That as a coach, you want to be able to explain to your players what the rules are, and you should be able to do that. That's not one of the rules you go over with your team. Hey, if you're going to give yourself up as a quarterback, got to make sure that you keep your knees off the ground, because even if you dive head first, they're going to call you down where you dive, start your dive, if your knee hits the ground. Like, you're not telling your quarterback that. You would like to think that your quarterback would know that already, but if he doesn't, you would like him in that particular situation to not dive. What are you diving for? The safety is letting up. He's not going to catch you. If he dares touch you, it's a 15-yard penalty and you score. There's no reason for him to be diving there. What are you diving for? Okay. Next thing. So that's not a coaching thing, if you ask me. That's a player thing. Know the damn rules. Next thing is St. Juice not getting the pick and grabbing it. That's not a Ron Rivera. That's not a Chris Harris defensive backs coach. That's not a Jack Del Rio thing. That's a player thing. I've said this before in the past about Benjamin St. Juste when we drafted him. He's a PBU guy. He's not a pick guy. Me and Derek B got into this whole back and forth about, hey, he's getting us off the field on third down if he breaks the pass up. And I'm like, that's cool. But what happens when it's not 3rd and 7, but rather 1st or 2nd down? You can pick it off, take it away. He's a knockdown guy. And I told you guys that. That's why he didn't have any career interceptions in college. He's a knockdown guy. So instead of him going for the football, he clearly was in position to pick that ball off. Clearly. Instead of going up with one hand and grabbing the receiver with the other, go up with 2 hands and pick it off. You know why? He doesn't have that mentality. Now, I will tell you this. We decided to draft him. So that's on the coaching staff. That's on the scouting department because they scouted him and said, hey, this guy's going to be really good. And I think he will. He's got talent, and I like what I see out of Juice. But he doesn't have the takeaway mentality. He's content with knocking the ball down. And that's really across the board. We don't have a takeaway mentality defense. We've got a defense that's content with just trying to get off the field on 3rd downs. So don't think that's a coaching issue there. That's a Benjamin St. Juste problem. That goes all the way back to Minnesota, which I talked about when he was drafted. And then finally, just kicking in field goals in the red zone. I'm not mad at Ron for going for it. You know why? Because I didn't think, and Ron probably didn't think either, who thought coming into this game that you'd be able to kick a slew of field goals and have a chance late against the Packers? Not I. I'm not going to sit here and act like, all of a sudden because the game went the way that it did that I was in favor of now going, kicking field goals. Hell no. These are the Packers. The same shit we were crying about last week. Ron can't kick field goals. It's the Chiefs. You got to go for it. Now, all of a sudden today, if Ron does, if he kicked the field goals, we in the game. Now you want him to kick the field goals. You got to make up your mind. You can't have it both ways. You can't say last week he shouldn't have kicked the field goal when it was missed by Dustin Hopkins on 4th and 6, and then turn around in the same breath and out of the other side of your mouth and say, well, we should have kicked the field goals today. No, we're playing the Aaron Rodgers-led Green Bay Packers offense that can score 34 in a blink of an eye. I don't think field goals are going to get the job done. And he didn't either. And I don't blame him for doing what he did today. This wasn't an issue of Ron's decision-making as much as it is execution by the players on the field and maybe the play calling by the coordinator. And I can't say if it was bad play calling or not, because I know on one particular 4th down, Taylor Heineke forced it to, or it was a 3rd down, actually, not a 4th down. The first one that got blocked. He forced it to Terry on a 3rd down. He had J.D. McKissic wide open in the flats. I mean, it's the same shit we talked about against the Giants with Taylor Heineke, where you go, hey, got a wide open receiver in the flats. Might want to take that, not force it to Terry here. So, there's different ways to look at things. Bottom line is, we didn't make plays as a team on the field. And I know how fans love to blame the coaching staff for everything that goes wrong on the field. But, there are actually players on the field that are supposed to execute. And, when you've got really good players, they make the play call right. They make the staff right. You think Aaron Rodgers, that initial play on that first touchdown, you thought that was a good play call? Nobody was open. He had to scramble out, throw back across his body. He made the play call seem like it was right because he's Aaron Rodgers. Sometimes your players have to make the coach right. We don't have enough guys making the coaching staff look like geniuses. Instead, everybody wants to second guess them because things aren't going well. But, oh, by the way, the reason they're not going well is because the players aren't making plays on the field. Like Terry, for instance, on a wide open 3rd down and goal situation, slips down. And, well, I don't even know if he slipped. The ball hits him right in the shoulder pad. I need you to catch the ball, bro. That's a touchdown. I mean, what are we doing here? Anyway, I guess that was Ron's fault, too, that Terry didn't catch that pass. Anyway, thank you for the super chat, F. Altus. Jason Rogers, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Jason Rogers writes, it may be the rule, but he was going for it to the end zone. 6 trips to the red zone, 7 points. There's only so much Uncle Jay can take, Lou. We had 4 red zone trips in this game, and we scored 0 points off of them. Let's see. Where was that last field goal? Yeah, we had 0 points out of our red zone trips. We were 1 of 4 on 4th downs. It's hard to win in this league. And one of the keys to the game, I'm going to read you the exact key, and we'll go over this tomorrow on Washington Football Nightly. Can't settle for field goals, which, FL2 says we should have kicked them. I said, look, you can't settle for field goals. It's Aaron Rodgers, it's the Green Bay Packers. Red zone efficiency. Well, I'd say that we were very inefficient today, going over in the red zone. So there's that. I hear you, Uncle Jay. I hear you, man. Only so much you can take. Got a super chat here from Fat American. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Fat American. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, look, I was on the Taylor Heineke may be our savior bandwagon. I am officially off. We need a quarterback. Bad. Are you going in or all in on Rodgers, even if that means trading Chase possibly? Look, Aaron Rodgers isn't coming to Washington, okay? Aaron Rodgers is totally in control of his fate. Last year, he was not. I don't think he had a no-trade clause. I don't think he had the ability to say where he would or wouldn't go. He redid his deal to now be able to say what will or will not happen with his future. He decides he wants to stick in Green Bay. He can do that. If he decides he wants to be traded, he can veto any trade that he wants. He's already said, I'm not going to Chicago. Like, he just played against this Washington team, okay? He just played this Washington team. They thought we were a joke. I thought them going for it on the first 4th down of the game. If they're playing the Rams, they're playing the Cowboys, they're playing the Cardinals next week on Thursday Night Football, you think they're going to go for it 4th and whatever it was, 4 or 5 on the opening possession, or you think they're going to take the points? That was a slap in the face and a sign of utter disrespect and disregard for us. And man, if we don't get it, who cares? It's Washington. We'll beat them anyway. When you're playing a good team, you take points right there because you don't know how the game's going to go. They fully expected to beat us. Fully expected to beat us. That was disrespect on the opening possession of the game. You think Aaron Rodgers is going to want to come here? That was part of what I said in the offseason. Part of this season, us being good, was if you wanted to attract a big-name quarterback, you wanted to make this a logical destination for someone to come, you were going to have to build off of what you did last year. And we still have time to do that, right? Season's not over, long from over. Still 10 games left this season. But I said very clearly that if we don't build upon what we did last year, no one's going to want to come here. I talked about this last week at some point. Don't remember exactly when, but I said Peyton Manning chose the Broncos over Washington, some years ago. Why? Because Denver was a much more attractive destination than Washington was back in 2000 and what was it? 13, I guess. What was it that he went to Denver? 11, maybe 2012. I think he tried to get him in 2012 before we drafted Robert Griffin III. I think that was Peyton Manning's first year in Denver. It was the 2012 season. Whatever the case may be, bottom line is we aren't a destination that a guy like Aaron Rodgers is going to want to come to. So I'm not even entertaining the thought of him being here or wanting to come somewhere like here. He'd go somewhere like San Francisco or somewhere like Vegas for the Raiders. I mean, and again, these places have quarterbacks. They got a young quarterback or they have a quarterback, but he'd go somewhere like Denver again, because they've got a team ready to win right now. They don't have a quarterback. He'd go to Denver before he comes here. They got so much talent in Denver. So, no. And as far as being off of the Heineke bandwagon, I think a lot of us had already come to that conclusion. I like Heineke a lot. I've already said that I think he is the perfect backup, like perfect guy you can win games with, for a 3-4 game stretch while your starter's out. He's the guy. But as far as him being your starter, I don't think that's necessarily what you want, is Taylor Heineke being your starting quarterback. Thank you for the super chat, Fat American, who also writes, and multiple first rounders. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Fat American. Whatever it takes to get a guy like Aaron Rodgers, you would probably have to consider to do. Again, how much time does he have left? How many more years is Aaron Rodgers going to play? Are you willing to give up what it's going to take to get a guy like Aaron Rodgers? Because again, you don't know how much longer of a shelf life he has. So that's something to consider. But like I said, he's not coming here, so I think that would kill that whole idea anyway. Let's see. LA, my guy, LA, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Lamaric writes, too many missed opportunities. That was the game. Absolutely spot on. I mean, every opportunity. I told you the Packers are very beatable. I told you guys that on Friday, Thursday and Friday. I said, you know what sucks is that we're not in the position as a football team at this current juncture, from a mental standpoint, from a physical standpoint, with all the injuries, we're just not in the right headspace to beat a team like Green Bay. But I said the really sad part about it is they're really beatable. Same thing with the Chiefs. Did you see what happened to the Chiefs today? Absolutely disassembled and dismembered by the Tennessee Titans. The Chiefs are not a good team right now. Like, that was a winnable game last week. The Saints, a winnable game the week before, but we're just not in a position to take advantage. Now, I will tell you this. If Heineke played the way he played today, last week, and the week before that against the Saints, we win both of those games. That's the frustrating part, is that we can't put it all together. The defense has been better each of the last 3 weeks. The defense has been better. And we just haven't gotten the offensive production. Well, we got the offensive production. We didn't finish drives. That was the problem today. We couldn't cap it off. We had more total yards in this game offensively than the Packers did. We moved the football with ease. That wasn't the problem. The problem was finishing off drives. That game was all about opportunities. We had them, and we didn't take advantage of them. And when you're playing teams that are better than you on the road especially, but just better than you, doesn't matter where the game's played. If they're better than you, you have to take advantage of opportunities. We didn't do that today. That's why we didn't win. It's really simple. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy, Metaphor. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB Rights. I say keep William Jackson III off the field. Get Terry some new gloves. TLH needs to sit down and go over the rule book. Positive outlook, and at least I picked Green Bay in winners and losers. So here's the thing. William Jackson III did not play today. The defense didn't look any worse for Ware because of that. That doesn't mean he doesn't need to play moving forward. He's a part of this team's future, or at least the immediate future. They signed him to a 3-year deal. They want him to play and play better, and we know he's capable of playing better because he's done that elsewhere. He can do that here. So I'm not in favor of keeping him off the field. That's one. 2, get Terry new gloves for what? Terry didn't have a drop with his hands. That drop occurred because the ball hit him in his shoulder pad / face mask, which that's on Terry for not being able to control his body to position himself to catch the football. But shit happens. I'm not killing Terry for that, other than if you're a star and a big time playmaker, I need that play made. Like, we're not good enough to have our best players not making plays. But that wasn't a flat out drop by Terry with his hands. That doesn't happen with Terry very often. The 2 drops we've had from Terry the last 2 weeks look eerily similar. You know, he's diving down, ball is placed in a place where it should be caught, and he doesn't catch it. Shit happens, but you can't allow that to happen if you're Terry. That can happen to De'Ami Brown. That can happen to Adam Humphries. That can happen to DeAndre Carter. That can't happen to Terry McLaurin because he's too important to what we do. We need him to make plays. TLH needs to sit down and go over the rule book. I mean, yeah, he knows now, right? He probably didn't know before. He needs to understand that you can't dive in that situation right there. And if you're going to dive, it's got to be that Superman dive that you did against Tampa Bay, where you keep your whole entire body parallel to the ground so that your knee doesn't touch. But when you dive onto the ground, you're giving yourself up. That's the new rule now. You don't get the extra yards that you slide forward until you're touched. If you dive down forward, you touch the ground with your knee, elbow, shin, or any other part that counts you as down, you're down right there. And that's what happened with Taylor Heineke on that play. He could have walked in the end zone. There was no resistance there. He didn't need to dive. Let's see what we got. P Low Dollars. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. P Low Dollars. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. And I'm going to credit you back your $15, P Low. You didn't have to send that to me unless you wanted to send that to me. And I think you were sending that for your membership to the MOBB. You don't have to send it to me. So I'm going to send that back to you via Cash App. Who writes, I like the plays to go for it, but now that we didn't cash in on any of them, we should have taken the field goals. I sent that Cash App for my membership. Yeah, so that's what I was referring to. It's funny that you brought that up. You didn't need to send me that money. I am going to credit that back to you. So you're good. You can't have revisionist history, Pilo. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. You don't get to say, hey, go for it. And then after you don't get it, we should have kicked the field goal. No, you got to be on one side of the fence or the other. You can't straddle the fence. If you wanted to go for it in the moment, then that's the right decision. Now, you can question the play call or the execution by the players on the field. You can question all of that stuff after you go for it. But you're either on one side of the fence or the other on going for it. Either you wanted to or you didn't. And we're playing against Green Bay. I want to go for it. I don't want to kick field goals. I'm not interested in whether Chris Blewett can make a 37-yard field goal. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in, can we find a way to put the ball in the end zone, because that's what's going to beat the Green Bay Packers, not kicking 5 Chris Blewett field goals. Because trust me, and this is, I truly feel this way. Had we scored points or field goals, say we kick the field goals and we make them, then the Packers ratchet up their intensity offensively, and I think they score more. I think they essentially said, look, as long as we don't make any stupid mistakes, we don't turn it over, we don't do anything dumb, they're not going to beat us. Let's not help them stay in this game. They were content with just doing the methodical thing. If we get points on this drive, cool. If not, we'll punt it, make them do it all over again. We're not an explosive offense, clearly. So it's going to take us time to get back down the field. They'll run out of time before they score enough points to beat us. And if we need Aaron to turn it up offensively, we'll do that. But make no mistake about it. You weren't going to beat the Packers with field goals. You're going to have to score touchdowns. And we had ample opportunities to do so in this game, and we failed ourselves. That's frustrating. CJ Shoots Photo. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. And thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, lots of inefficiencies. So many blown opportunities in the red zone. If we convert points, this game is close. If we convert in the red zone, we got a great chance of winning this game. I've already said this. The Packers aren't great. They're a good football team because they have Aaron Rodgers. You take Aaron Rodgers off that team, and they are just as average as the day is long. Seriously. But that's not saying much. At the end of the day, they don't scare anybody, do the Packers. Yeah, they're 6-1. There are a lot of teams that are 5-1 and 6. The margin between the Packers and a team like us or a team like the Giants, it's actually a lot smaller than you think, other than the quarterback position. Seriously. I'm not bullshitting you. You may think I'm crazy for making a statement like that, but you take Aaron Rodgers off of the Green Bay Packers, they're 2-5. They're 1-6 right now, which is why they went out of their way this offseason to make sure Aaron Rodgers didn't get traded and would play for them. Because they knew if this was Jordan Love, they'd be sitting right at 2-5 or 1-6, just like us. The difference is they got Aaron Rodgers, so he's going to make those plays. That first possession, that play on 4th down, Jordan Love isn't making that play, but Aaron Rodgers is. Taylor Heineke's not making that play, but Aaron Rodgers is. The Packers aren't all that great. And that's what I've been trying to convey to you guys, is that they're beatable. We're just not in a position to beat them because mentally we're not where we need to be. Physically, we're not where we need to be. And we had every opportunity to make this a ball game and potentially steal it. Just like last week against the Chiefs. Chiefs are very beatable. You saw that firsthand last week. We just aren't in the mental nor physical position to do that. And that sucks. When you know that the team is very beatable, they're sitting right there to be taken out, and you can't do it because you're not good enough mentally or physically to do it yet. We're getting there. It's a slow process, but we're not there yet. Thank you for the super chat, CJ Shoots Photo. Pop-Tart Timmy. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Pop Tart Timmy writes, playoffs still in reach, LOL. What's with always passing on third and short when we obviously are going for it on fourth down? Hit the like button. I don't know. I mean, it's a question that I've asked multiple times this year. If you're thinking about going for it, and maybe their thought process is, let's just get the first down here on third down. If we don't, we can go for it on fourth down and we can throw it again. But our thought process is, if you're going for it, or at least mine is, I can't speak for you guys out there, is if you're going, and I said this last week, if you're going to go for it on fourth down, if your coordinator, if you're the head coach, you're Ron Rivera, you've already made up your mind, this is 4 down territory. You convey that message to your offensive coordinator. Hey, Scott, just want you to know, going into this third down play call, this is 4 down territory. So if you need to run it here, man, do your thing. I would love to see them be aware enough to understand that concept and do that. But that's not the move with this football team. It's throw it on third down, throw it on fourth down. And hasn't really worked all that well for us of late. It worked early in the season. It hasn't worked that well for us. And we weren't complaining when it was working earlier this season. When Curtis Samuel was catching a 4th and 4 against the Atlanta Falcons, we weren't really complaining about it all that much then. We're only complaining about it now because it's not working. So if it worked, we wouldn't be having this discussion, but it's not working. So how about you try something different? Just like not blitzing wasn't working. So we blitzed a lot more today. It worked. Now, it's not like the Packers, were awful on third downs. They were 6 of 12. They were still 50%. That's still not good if you're a defense. But for us and what we've been this year, that's not that bad. Actually, that's an improvement because we're giving it up at a 57% clip this year on third down. So technically 50 is better than 57. So they weren't terrible on third down, but they weren't great. They weren't great in the red zone. They weren't terrible in the red zone, but they weren't great in the red zone. They weren't flawless in the red zone. We're the Packers. They went for it on fourth down. They weren't perfect on fourth down, but they were good enough on fourth down. The bottom line is we did enough on the downs. But to my original point, something's not working. Do something different. We played a lot more man-to-man today. It worked sometimes. It didn't work sometimes. We blitzed a lot more today. It worked sometimes. It didn't. But it's something different. It changes up the norm for us. And right now, the norm on third down and short is to throw it. And the norm on fourth down is to throw it. Sometimes you got to switch it up. Thank you for the super chat, Pop Tart Timmy. Trevor Patch, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Trevor Patch writes, support Lou from Mexico. Catch you on the playback. Hey, man, enjoy Mexico. It's a beautiful place. And definitely catch you on the playback for sure, man. Thank you for the support, Trevor Patch. Red Rings 01. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Writes, I don't want to hear coach slander 100% on players. And at some point as fans, you've got to hold the players culpable. There has to be liability on these players at some point. Too often fans want to, because a lot of fans are fanboys and girls. You want the players to be right because you love the players so much, and it's the coach's fault. No, sometimes it is the coach's fault. It's not always the players' fault. And sometimes it's both the coaches and players' fault. But you know what? A lot of times, I think more times than not, it's the players' fault. But it's easy to blame the coaches because the players do what the coaches tell them to do. So when they do something wrong, you say, well, the coaches aren't putting them in positions to make plays, or this is a bad play call, or what are we doing? We should have run it when we threw it. We should have threw it when we ran it. It's easy to point the finger because really, you're not wrong. Or at least there's really no way to prove that you're wrong when you blame the coaching staff. When you start to blame players, someone can say, no. He was right on that play. You're wrong for blaming him. He did the right thing. So instead of putting yourself out there to potentially be wrong, you just blame the coaching staff because there's no way of anybody actually tangibly being able to say, that's definitively wrong, what you just said. It's easy to say, Scott Turner's terrible. We need a new play caller. Well, how do you know? How do you know? How do many of us out there actually know that Scott Turner's a terrible play caller? Or that Jack Del Rio isn't putting players in the best positions? Are you watching film? Did you used to play football? Do you actually know what's being called? And a lot of times, that's the toughest thing is we don't even know, even when you're watching a film, you still don't know what's actually being called and how it's being coached. The bottom line is, today, this was more of a player issue, less of a coaching issue. I like what the coaching staff looked like they were putting these players in position to do. And I just thought it was failure on the part of the players to go out and execute, especially on the offensive side when we got close to the end zone. Now, again, could the play calling be different and better? Maybe. I do think there is a little bit of Scott Turner struggling in the red zone. But you know what else would help? Better players. And we're missing a lot of our best players that would really help down in the red zone, which is why I'm optimistic. I don't want to say it's 100% on the players. I won't go that far, okay? I'm not a one end of the spectrum or the other guy. It's not 0% on the coaches, 100% on the players. And it's not 100% on the coaches and 0% on the players. There's a middle ground somewhere in there. There's somewhere in there where the two meet and it makes a ton of sense for me. But it's not 100% on the players. The players definitely didn't execute at certain spots today, and that hurt us. And it's enough blame to go around, as I've mentioned prior to this many a times. Anthony Barnwell, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, who writes, extend and pay Terry. Now, I don't know if they will do it in season. I don't know if that's something that they will strive to achieve during the year. Terry will get his money. It'll be here. I'm not worried, and neither should you. He's not going anywhere. They're not going to allow, they understand there aren't many players that have league-wide recognition for what they do on this team. We don't have many. One of the few guys that we do have is Terry McLaurin. They're not going to let him walk away. He's a really good football player. They know that, and they're not going to let him walk. So that's not a guy you got to worry about. Trevor Patch, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. I thought you was in Mexico, man. What are you doing? He says, I like Scott and JDR today. Both were creative. You're supposed to be in Mexico, living it up. What are you doing doubling up here? You said you're going to watch it on playback. What are you doing? I agree with you. I thought that specifically JDR, I can't really speak to Scott. I thought we did have a possession there where Scott got freaky. Scott started doing, double reverse, quarterback pass. We finally got the ball in DeAndre Carter's hands. He did fumble it. Great hustle by Taylor Heineke to recover that fumble. We have 4 fumbles today, which is just egregious. I mean, that's losing football. Now, we only lost, we lost 2 of them, I believe. Maybe only 1. Let me see if I can remember the fumbles. No, we lost 1 of them, which was the Taylor Heineke fumble. He had 2 fumbles. I forgot about the one down by the end zone on the 4th down quarterback sneak. But he got it back. I thought that was a touchdown, but whatever. Bottom line is we fumbled 4 times today. That's losing football. Hold on to the damn football. I thought JDR was extremely creative today with his blitz packages. Landon Collins is way better down by the line of scrimmage. He flashed today, I thought Scott Turner got creative a little bit too, but I'm not worried about Scott Turner from 20 to 20. That's not when, I have concerns about Scott Turner. My concerns are starting to grow about Scott Turner in the red zone. And again, some of that may be on Taylor Heineke. Again, film is what really tells the story as to why you're not executing, because I've seen instances where guys are open and Heineke is fixated on getting the ball to Ricky Seals-Jones, and you got Adam Humphries wide ass open for a touchdown. I've seen that multiple times this season where Heineke's fixated on 83 and he's going to, just like he did today on a 4th down, fixated on getting into 83 instead of looking around the field to see who's open. Not to say that somebody else was open on the play, but I can tell you this, 83 is a big dude, has a really good catch radius. He's not 82 in that sense, Anyway, I digress. CJ Shoots Photo. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, so mad we didn't get the PI when they were all over Ricky Seals in the end zone. They give the Packers a PI against Juice when it wasn't, in my opinion. Shaking my head. Oh, no, the Juice penalty was definitely pass interference because he didn't need to touch the receiver there. He didn't need to touch Devontae Adams. No reason to touch him. He was in great position. Pick that shit off. Don't use that other arm to touch him. Use that other arm to go up for the football and pick it off and take it out of the air. Ricky Seals-Jones, yeah, that defender, and the referee's watching his arm. His off arm is around the hip, but I didn't think he turned him with it, right? Like, it's not a penalty to put your arm around the waist of the receiver as he's trying to catch the football. It's a penalty when you take that hand and use it to turn that receiver, and I don't think he did that. So I didn't have a problem with the no call in the end zone. That wasn't a good decision by Taylor Heineke. Ricky Seals-Jones was covered. He was covered. So I didn't have a problem with them not calling that. I didn't think it was a flag. But I understand where you're coming from. Rob Yu, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Rob Yu, thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, missed opportunities. He says 26 looked decent at linebacker. Yep. I just said that, and you echoed those sentiments. Missed opportunities is the name of this game. Today's game in particular, really the last 3 weeks, you could argue missed opportunities are the name of the game. We weren't good in the red zone against the Saints, including an interception by Heineke. We weren't good in the red zone again today, including an interception and a fumble by Heineke, and Heineke sliding down when he should have walked in the end zone. Like a lot of miscues, and Terry dropping one in the end zone. A lot of missed opportunities, but I did think 26 looked good at linebacker. He flew around. He recovered a fumble. He had a couple of tackles for loss. He blitzed several times. I like him as a blitzer. I thought Landon Collins was active today in the game, and I want to see more of it. Thank you for the super chat, Rob Yu. William Lee, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, I love that the defense didn't embarrass themselves. The offense clearly lost us this game. I said this last week against the Chiefs, despite giving up 31 points and 500 yards of total offense. Like, the defense gave us a chance to win the game. The offense did not. The week before that against the Saints, I said, look, you say what you want. We gave up 33 points to the Saints. Jameis Winston had completed 50% of his passes. We forced 2 turnovers defensively. The defense gave us a chance to win that game. And the common denominator in those games was Taylor Heineke did not play well. And if he doesn't play well, the offense has zero chance of playing well. Well, I actually thought he played well enough today. We just didn't finish drives. And that's really where this game's story is told. You go to the red zone. We're 0 of 4 in the red zone. If we're just 2 of 4, like the Packers were, we got a chance to win this game. We have a chance to win this game. We lost by 14 points. You score 2 touchdowns, it's 24-24. Now, that's a simplification. I understand that. I totally get it. Game is totally different if we score touchdowns, but it doesn't matter. The point is, you can't go 0 for in the red zone and expect to beat anybody, especially the Green Bay Packers. The defense did not embarrass themselves. They gave us every opportunity to try to win this game. They really did. So it's frustrating that we didn't score enough points to give ourselves a chance. We made so many mistakes. Trevor Patch, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Trevor writes, studs, Wes Schweitzer and D-line, duds, Gibby and Terry. I totally disagree with that. Terry has 1 drop and he's a dud? Really? Come on, Trev. You better than that, man. Wes Schweitzer had a penalty. He's still a stud, though, because he had a penalty that brought a play back. But Terry drops 1 ball and he's a dud? Come on, Trev. You better than that, man. Stop. I thought the D-line was really good, to your other point, though. I thought the D-line was outstanding. Aaron Rodgers was under a ton of duress today. Should have had a couple more sacks. Guys let Rodgers get away, including Montez Sweat. But Allen had 2 sacks today. I think he leads the team in sacks this season. He's been phenomenal. this year. Sweat had a sack on Rodgers. Matt Ioannidis for the second week or second time in 3 weeks almost had a safety. I thought the D-line overall was really good as a unit. AfroCat2136. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, front four played fast and stayed in rush lanes. Agreed. He says cornerbacks played with greater toughness in the run game. Agreed. Curl is a beast. Agreed. Teams recognize what he can do and have to game plan for him. Linebackers flashed. Agreed. Excited. Agreed. I'm excited about this too. I don't know if a lot of people are. I walked away from this game saying, wait a minute. If we play like this next week against Denver, we'll win. If we play like this against Tampa Bay, and we'll have, Curtis Samuel, more likely than not, never ever trust a man with two first names, and Logan Thomas and Brandon Sheriff. We'll have all those guys back after the bye week against Tampa. If we play like this and we finish off drives, hey, what do you know? We might actually have a damn chance to get hot and make something of this season. This was an encouraging game. I can't state that enough. I'm with you. I'm encouraged. Kismet, man of fate. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. And thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, I wanted revenge against Joe Barry, but this team makes losing into an art form. It's truly remarkable how they do it. Yeah, Joe Barry's a clown, and he probably felt good to get a little bit of get back against us. Nothing that his defense did today, like they gave up over 400 yards of total offense. We moved the football with regularity. We just didn't finish. Nothing he did, was the reason they won this game. We just didn't execute when it mattered most. So, but F Joe Barry. Like I'm not going to sit here and harp on Joe Barry. I don't care enough about Joe Barry. He's been gone for a very long time now, But anyway, yeah, they got creative with some of the things we did today to not score. That was some creative shit, like Taylor diving down and his knee touching at the half-yard line, then rushing onto the field as if we were going to catch the Packers napping, then quarterback sneaking, getting stuffed, having the ball knocked free, Terry falling down and not catching a pass in the end zone. That would have been like, we did some really creative things to not score today. We really did. I agree. Gunny Man, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the squad. Writes, it was a surprise, but good to see. The players responded to Ron after a tough week. I thought they came out and they played hard. They played like this, felt like last year, except the offense actually was competent, unlike last year. It felt like a game that we would have played last year. Like, we didn't get blown out. We didn't embarrass ourselves. We gave ourselves a chance against a team that is clearly better than us. And we just showed our inexperience and our inability to take it to that next level, to beat teams that are considered upper echelon. That's what this felt like. This felt more like last year. Like, these games are starting to feel more and more like last year. The Saints first half up until the Hail Mary, it felt like last year. The game against the Chiefs in the first half, it felt like last year. This game, the entire game, felt like last year. The defense could have folded up like a lawn chair after all these mistakes by the offense. They didn't have to force a 3-and-out punt from Green Bay after Taylor Heineke's fumble on the 4th and goal and diving down on 3rd down and goal. They didn't have to get a stop there. They could have easily done what they did last week against the Chiefs after we went for it on 4th down and didn't get it, and the Chiefs started, or I think we punted and the Chiefs started at their own 3-yard line. And let the Chiefs go on a 13-play, 97-yard marathon drive and score a touchdown. The defense could have done that, but they didn't. They forced a 3-and-out, almost blocked the punt. We got great field position, got right back down there, and then whiffed in the red zone again. Thought the players did respond to Ron. J Sauer 1990, thank you for the super chat and for being a member of the squad. J99 Sauer, or J Sauer 1990 writes, Unfortunately, we lost, but let's be serious. We are playing much better than the last 4 games. We just have to execute better and get people healthy. I think we're playing a lot better. A lot better. Again, I'm encouraged by this one. Look, there is no, silver linings necessarily, or there are silver linings in losses. There are no moral victories. Okay, and that's not what I'm looking for here. I'm just telling you, there's a silver lining in this, that we played better, and if we play like this moving forward, I guarantee you, with the schedule, the hard part of the schedule is over now. Just in case you were wondering and keeping score at home, we've gotten past the toughest part of our schedule now. Played Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau, played Patrick Mahomes, played Josh Allen. The toughest part of the schedule is gone. Also, you could throw in there Justin Herbert, first week of the season. That's gone now. We don't play Matt Ryan too. Don't sleep on Matt Ryan. They're now 3-3 on the season. Okay. We got that part of the schedule out of the way. Now we got the Denver Broncos next week. They stink, but they're very capable of beating us. And they'll get some guys back healthy this week. And they're coming off of a Thursday night game, so they'll be rested, well rested. 10 days off. They'll feel good about looking at us. Both of us will be looking at each other like food. You know that Spider-Man meme where Spider-Man's pointing at himself? That's how it's going to be this week. They're pointing at us like food. We're pointing at them saying, hey, let's go eat. Somebody's going to eat. And I've said this already. Somebody's going to be the predator. Someone's going to be the prey. But if we play like we did today, minus the inefficiency in the red zone, we'll stop the Denver Broncos. We'll stop a mud hole in them. And then we'll be ready to run up and maybe, just maybe, punch the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the face after the bye week with a bunch of guys back from injury. Again, all of this is hypothetically speaking, of course. Okay? But I'm encouraged because the arrow is trending upward. For the first time this season, it's actually trending upward defensively. I don't know what this offense is going to be from week to week. I don't know. But that was never supposed to be the thing we were hanging our hat on anyway. The defense was supposed to be the catalyst. If they turn it around, we've got a shot to turn it around. And they're in the midst of trying to turn this thing around. That's all I'm saying. That's why I'm somewhat optimistic after today's loss. That's all. That's it. Barce, HTTR 95. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Louie, respectfully, what in the blue hell was you watching? Taylor did not give us a chance, dude. Turnovers in the red zone and falling short of the goal line. The F. So, yeah, we saw the game differently. That's all. I mean, Taylor rushed. Let me see how many yards he ran for. I guarantee you the man ran for 80 yards in the game. Let's see. Taylor Heineke rushed for 95 yards today. 95 yards. The man accounted for well over 300 yards of total offense by himself. 95 yards rushing, and he didn't give us a chance. Man had like a 40-yard rush on one drive that pretty much put us in scoring range. Heineke, I thought, did some really good things today. Yeah, did the ball sail on him a couple of times? Was he high? Yeah, he was. Okay. Did he miss a throw or two? Absolutely. What quarterback doesn't? But he made some throws. That first touchdown pass where he eludes the rusher who's grabbing his jersey, resets his feet, and throws a dime to Terry for the touchdown, that's not giving us a chance on the opening possession of the game. Heineke eluding pressure, stepping up in the pocket and scrambling on 3rd down and goal from the 5, and then making a very poor decision, I will grant you, but yet it was still his decision to get out of the pocket and run that put us in a position for the touchdown opportunity in the first place. That's not giving us a chance. No, he shouldn't have slid or dove. He should have gotten in the end zone. But he thought he was getting in the end zone. He didn't realize he was getting down prior to the end zone. And I'm pretty sure he didn't know the new rules. Well, now, if he didn't know before, he knows now. If you don't know, now you know. I bet. But that's not giving us a chance. Yeah, the interception late in the game in the red zone, that sucks. The only reason we were down there was because of Taylor Heineke. Heineke running down the field behind DeAndre Carter as Carter's making a big play, he fumbles and Heineke recovers it. That's not giving us a chance to win. I guess we just saw the game differently. That's all. Heineke gave us a chance in this game. I assure you of this, and there's no way of proving this, right? I mean, I can assure you all I want, but there's no tangible way of me being able to prove this with any certainty. But if Heineke would have played this way last week and the week before, we win one of those two games, if not both of them. You can win with the effort he gave us today. You can't win with the lack of execution in the red zone. Those are two different things, okay? Now, if you want to combine them, you can. I'm choosing to separate the two because red zone, there's a separate day of practice for just red zone offense and defense. That's how important that portion of the field is to winning and to losing in the NFL. So the fact that they think as coaches that it's that important of a day that it needs its own day says that it should be separate from everything else. Teams will allow you to go 20-20. It's when you get in the red zone that is going to make all the difference in the world between winning and losing a game. I thought what he did from 20-20 today gave us a chance to win the football game. And then when you get in the red zone, you need playmakers to make plays. You know, you've heard this expression before. All right. It's not X's and O's, it's Joes when you get into the red zone. It could go both ways, though. But when you don't have a bunch of Joes, Jimmys and Joes, it's not X's and O's, it's Jimmys and Joes. That's what they say. Well, you don't have Jimmys and Joes. We just got a Joe. Then you need the X's and O's. And I'm not sure if we're getting the X's and O's or if we're getting the proper execution of these X's and O's from the Jimmys and Joes. Because we got a Jimmy. His name's Terry McLaurin. I don't know if we got a Joe in the red zone. His name was Logan Thomas. He was the red zone threat. I don't know if we got another one of those. Taylor Heineke seems to think his name's Ricky Seals-Jones. Well, Ricky Seals hasn't proved that yet. Ricky's proven that from 20, 30, 40 yards out. Yeah, I can do it then. But when we get in there and it gets tight, Ricky ain't breaking nobody off, and he's not using his body to separate well enough. So, yes, we saw the game differently. You saw it one way, I saw it another way. Well, guess we'll have to agree to disagree. Thank you for the super chat. Barce 19 or HTTR 95. Chris Lee, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, defense got after Rodgers. Can St. Juice take WJ3's spot? The guy showed me something. He has the size, and I think this defense starts to gel going from here on out. Now, he's not going to take his spot. But what we saw today, I think, is enough for them to feel like he needs to start opposite of William Jackson III, and Kendall Fuller needs to officially be moved inside to nickel permanently. Now, again, when you're in your base and there's no need for Kendall Fuller to be on the field, are you really going to take Kendall Fuller off the field is the question. I don't know. We have an answer to that. And then here's the other question. Did the defense perform better in the secondary because there was no William Jackson? Or did they just perform better because there was better rush from the defensive line? I thought it was a combination of both, because there were times where the D-line didn't get home initially, but Rodgers had nowhere to go with the football, had to pull it down and try to extend, and then the defensive line got there. That means it was great coverage. And then there were plays where Rodgers didn't have a chance, like Jonathan Allen busting through on a TE game inside, and he comes through and gets to Rodgers before Rodgers can really even react. So it goes both ways. We'll know. I think this is an experimental thing. So if WJ3 comes back next week, and all of a sudden we can't get off the field on third downs, we're getting exposed, we're getting pass interference penalties left and right, and the Broncos are moving the football with greater efficiency than the Packers just did, maybe there is a little bit, and he's being targeted as well. Maybe there is a little bit of validity to that. But for right now, they paid WJ3 to come in here and be a starting level shutdown type corner, and they're going to give him every opportunity to do that. I'm not willing to give up on him yet. It's too early for that. I've been disappointed in what we've gotten from him, but it's a transition, as Chris Harris said. It's a transition for a dude that really was just asked to just cover the guy in front of you. That's it. We're not asking you to think out here on the football field. We're not asking you to do anything else other than just cover the guy in front of you. Well, we're asking him to think as well. And it's clearly affecting him. So he's going to have to adjust. And I know some of you say, well, then just let him cover. It's not that simple. You know, there's a scheme here. There's things you're trying to get done. Defense is unlike offense. Defense is something where you do need to be creative. You do have to do different things. You can't just say, well, fit your defense to the players that you have. In certain instances, yes, that's what you do need to do. You need to put guys in positions to be successful, but you have to be able to switch it up. You can't just say, well, William Jackson III plays great man-to-man, so we're just going to let him play man-to-man because the other team knows that as well. Oh, he can't play zone, so he's got to be playing man. They're going to take advantage of that. I want to see what happens when he comes back. I'm anxious to see if he really is the source of the problem. I don't think he is. I just thought that the defensive line was just so much better today. And you know who else played really well? And I don't know why they seem to not want him on his roster, because I think he does really good things when he gets opportunities. Danny Johnson. Danny Johnson was fantastic today. Fantastic. I want to see more Danny Johnson. Thought he was really good today. Thank you for the super chat, Chris Lee. Barce, HTTR 95. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, then this dude had the nerve to get up, cheesing, and then do a Lambo. Yeah, that didn't work out so well for him, did it? He says, lucky they ain't bite and beer his ass. Kyle deserves a real chance. Now, you're not wrong about that part. Now, remember, he's not from Wisconsin, but his family was from Wisconsin. And his dad was a massive Green Bay Packers fan, which made him a massive Green Bay Packers fan. He grew up idolizing Brett Favre. He probably always wanted to do a Lambeau Leap. He found the one Washington fan that was sitting in that front row, and he jumped into him. So he was good, okay? But to your point, you can't have a snafu like that, and then he didn't know what he had done. That proves that he didn't know. You know, he thought he scored a touchdown. He got up. He Lambeau leaped. He was excited, and yeah, that's unfortunate for him. He got to do it though. He'll never forget that, even though it didn't count. As far as Kyle Allen is concerned, I'm not clamoring for Kyle Allen. You know, Kyle Allen's not running for 95 yards in any game. Sorry, not sorry. That's just not who he is. So, I'm not a proponent of Kyle Allen. I'm just not a proponent of him going in over Taylor Heineke, if that makes any sense. So, let's see. Dewan Porch. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the squad. Who writes, it's almost like it's on purpose now. Coaching added to the loss, a whole series of the fumbles. Shaking my head. D playing better, though. In what way do you feel like the coaching contributed to the loss? In what way? I'd like to know so I can try to react to that. The fumbles was an issue today. We fumbled 4 times. Again, we only lost 1, but it's never good when you put the ball on the carpet. Ever. It just is never a good thing. So that's something we got to be better at. And I think Heineke, for as good as he was at eluding rush today and using his legs, there were a couple of times where I thought he was back there for way too long. Like, the Charles Leno Jr. sack late in the game. Like, that's on Heineke. You keep backpedaling, and yeah, Leno's getting his ass kicked on the rep. Yeah, he's getting bull rushed. I am aware. Kingsley Kiki is kicking his ass. And you'd like him to not get bull rushed and ramrodded like that, but Heineke has to be able to feel that and slide up or roll out. He just keeps backpedaling right into the damn sack. So you'd like to see some more awareness, but again, that comes with playing more. You know what I mean? Like, I hate to keep beating a dead horse, But the more he plays, the more, like, I thought he felt his way through some things today. A lot better than he had the last couple of weeks. The more he plays, the more he's going to be able to feel his way through some things. But we got to be better in the red zone. Got to protect the Duke. Got to clamp down on that football. This is what, 3 games in a row Gibson's fumbled, I think. Definitely 2 in a row for sure. I'm not sure if he fumbled against the Saints or not, but it feels like he's fumbled at least in 4 games. So I would like to think that he did fumble against the Saints as well. I think it's 3 games in a row now. Gibby's put it down on the carpet. And of course, he fumbled in week 1, which was a costly one. So he's got to protect the football. He's not doing a good enough job at protecting the Duke. Burger the Butcher, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, the absence of Logan Thomas is why we lost. You can't just simplify it to just Logan Thomas is not here. That's why we lost. That's you're oversimplifying why we lost this game. It's more than just the absence of Logan Thomas. His presence or lack thereof is most felt in the red zone, which is where we've been struggling of late. But I could argue that, with a Curtis Samuel, it opens up things in the red zone. It's not just, we don't know that. Obviously, we haven't seen Curtis Samuel enough to know that. But I'd like to think that with 10 on the field, it's going to open up things, not just for Terry, but for the rest of the guys on the offense. And he's a playmaker. I talk about Jimmy's and Joe's, right? He's one of those types of dudes that you go, yeah, you scheme to get him involved in touches down in the red zone. We just don't have enough dynamic players down there. And really, I think what is the most glaring in the NFL, I think the biggest disparity between elite quarterbacks and the average to below average is 2 things. Deep ball accuracy is one. And then I think the second thing is efficiency in the red zone. The elite quarterbacks have the ability to zing it in there, and they got the ability to make something happen off schedule and find a guy rolling out to their left or to their right and find a guy coming across the back end line. That's where you separate yourself as a quarterback. Josh Allen, I think, is like 49 touchdowns, no interceptions, and probably got another, 15 to 20 rushing touchdowns in his young NFL career. Hasn't turned it over once in the red zone yet. Bunch of touchdowns, bunch of rushing touchdowns, bunch of passing touchdowns. That's where you make your money. That's where you separate yourself in this league, is in the red zone. Shit gets tight now. That easy little slant that you were looking and hitting all down the field, that shit isn't there anymore. That window's way tighter now. You got to zing it in there. You got to have timing and anticipation. You got to put that ball in the perfect spot. There's one inch off to the left or to the right, it's bad in the air and it's picked up, or it's incomplete. And we haven't seen that from Heineke yet. His ability to make things happen other than with his legs. He's shown us the ability to get into the end zone with his legs, whether against Buffalo or in other games that he's rushed. He's shown the ability to get into the end zone with his legs. We've seen that from him. Can he get the football into the end zone with his arm? When the shit has to be in there in tight quarters, on the money, can he do that consistently? And the answer right now is no. A guy like Logan Thomas gives you a greater margin for error. Why? Because he's 6'6" with long arms and a tremendous catch radius. Like the touchdown he had late in the game when the game was already over and no longer in doubt against Buffalo. Still, he boxed the defenders right there on his hip. He just boxed his ass out, went up and got it. You don't have to be perfect on that throw. Logan's got you. I remember week 17 versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Alex Smith is compromised. We know this. Alex Smith is done. The fact that he's even in the game helping us at this juncture is amazing. He throws a dart back of the end zone. I'm talking about this shit had to be 7'3" wingspan necessary to catch this. And Logan Thomas climbs the ladder and goes and gets it. That ball was not perfect, nor was it good, really, to be honest with you. But it was the only place where a guy like Logan Thomas could get it. He climbed to the top, tippy top shelf and brought that thing down. We're lacking that right now. We missed that. But that's not the only reason we lost this game. Rob U, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Rob U writes, Schweitzer and Lucas are so underrated. I mean, that's part of the reason I didn't want to bring Sheriff back. Is like I'm cool with Wes Schweitzer. I really am. And I know why they brought, Sheriff back and the leadership in the locker room, the guys in all pro. He's a good football player. But I'm just not willing to spend $18 million on a guard when I know I got somebody else that can do it for $4 million. Where's the psychological sense in that? I know that $18 million is coming off the books next year and you can just let them walk next year. But why? Why spend that money if you don't have to? That never really made sense to me. But it's nor here nor there. Lucas, again, we don't really call his name for much of anything. He did get beat for a sack today, right? He got beat for a sack, and Wes Schweitzer did get called for a holding penalty. But those guys, generally, they come in, they do their job, and we don't really talk about them very often, which is a good thing. If backup offensive linemen are in the game and we don't mention them, it's because they're doing their jobs. And I told you the one place we had the most depth, I think I said this at least 75 times this offseason, is offensive line. I said, I don't know who's going to be our starting five, but the depth there is so great. I don't really care which five they put in. I feel really confident that we're going to put 5 guys on the field that can do their job and do it adequately, because we've seen these guys on the field for us, not elsewhere, here in Washington. So whether it's Eric Flowers at left guard or it's Wes Schweitzer at left guard, feel confident either one of those guys are going to get the job done. Whether it's Charles Leno Jr. or Cornelius Lucas at left tackle, feel pretty confident both of those guys are going to get the job done. Whether it's Sam Cosmi or it's Cornelius Lucas at right, I feel pretty confident both of those guys are going to get the job done, whoever's in there. That's how I felt all year long. Well, they're proving that right now. The depth on the offensive line is superior. It's probably the most depth we have anywhere on our football team at any position, or positional group, I should say, is the offensive line. Let's see. CGM87, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Lou, if this team went to play Squid Games, all 53 would be eliminated before game 1. This feels Jim Zorn bad. It's just pathetic, and it numbs me. I think you are really over-exaggerating how bad this team is. You're frustrated. That's what that says to me. This comment says that you're frustrated. And I can't tell you how to feel, okay? I'm just telling you what you just described isn't even close to what we watched on the field today. Did you really live through Jim Zorn's years here in Washington? Did you live through those teams? And I'm not talking about Jim Zorn's first 8 games when we went like 6-2 or, 5-2 or 5-3 or whatever it was before we got embarrassed by the Steelers on a Monday night and they came to Washington and took over in 2008. I'm talking about Jim Zorn 2009. I'm talking about swinging gate where you go out, fake a field goal, a timeout is called, and you run the fake field goal back and get embarrassed at home like 41-17 or 47-11 against the Giants. Just an embarrassing show. Are you kidding me? Jim Zorn? We're not even close to that team right now. Like, let's keep it real. Let's be real with one another. You could be upset, and you should be. You could be disappointed, and you should be. Let's not compare this to teams that were absolutely the worst in the league. That's not what we are right now. That's not what we are at all. And that's what we weren't. We weren't that today. We made a bunch of mistakes, and mistakes that bad teams make. I will grant you that. But this wasn't swinging gate bad, okay? This wasn't that. King of the North, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB as well. My guy, King of the North, writes, Red Zone O is comical at this point. Number 4, clamming up and play calling is suspect. Boneheaded dive by Taylor, shaking my head. Yeah, it wasn't a great, and again, I'm pretty sure he'll acknowledge that. As a matter of fact, haven't watched his post-game presser. I'm pretty sure he's going to say, yeah, I got to just get in the end zone there. I can't slide down. He saw the Packer defender in his peripheral there. That guy wasn't going to impact the play. Stand up, okay? Be a man, stand up, walk in the end zone, okay? He was worried about getting contact there. You're okay, all right? You're going to make it in there. Get in the end zone. And he knows that now. you'd like him to not make that mistake, but he did. It's a learning, it's a teaching tool, it's a teachable moment. Hopefully he learns from that, never does it again. Play calling, again, I can't say if it is or isn't suspect. I don't think Scott is very creative down there, though. You know, I don't think we've seen any creativity. It seems like it's always that same damn gun run to Antonio Gibson that gets us one or none. I don't see any creativity down there. When's the jet sweep down there coming? You know, when's the, fake it, get it on the center, fake it to this guy, pitch it to this guy, or a toss sweep, or anything to get a guy on the edge, or anything. Something different than, hey, let's line up in the gun and then hand it to Antonio Gibson and run, some inside zone. Like, no. Or some inside power. No, it's not working. Do something different. Anyway, I digress. King Shane, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. King Shane writes, want to thank you, Lou. For what? For the first time in 20 years, I turned the game off because I was pissed, but listening to you made me feel better. Now, first of all, you're welcome. I got to call you out on this, though. This couldn't have been the game that made you turn it off, King Shane, if you've been watching for the last 20 years. There have been games that have been which is going back to CGM's comment about this being a Jim Zorn-esque team. There's been games over the last 20 years that were way worse than this. This wasn't a turn the TV off type of game. This wasn't that. It shouldn't have been, at least. But I get the frustration because this was a winnable game. I get it. A lot of mistakes were made. Totally understand, but there's been some games. I mean, the Buffalo game, to me, was the turn to TV off game this year, if there's ever been one. I mean, we were getting clobbered in that game. Yeah, we rallied back and cut it to a one-score game, and Kendall Fuller had a chance to get us to back the ball with all the momentum in the world, and he didn't. But we didn't score another point in that game until it was 43-14. If any game were the turn TV off game, it was Buffalo. I remember saying this in the moment. When we gave up the Hail Mary to the Saints, I didn't want to watch any more of the game. Like, if I were one of those types of fans, I'd have turned the shit off then and not came back for the second half. And we were only down by 7. That shit pissed me off that much. This wasn't that kind of game. I never felt that. But I'm glad that I could be a voice of reason, because honestly, it wasn't as bad as some of you are making it out to be. This was actually a positive game. I feel so much better today than I did this time last week or the week before that. And I did not expect to win this game, just like I did not expect to win the game last week. But just like last week, we had a chance. But unlike last week, we actually had opportunities offensively. We had no opportunities. We didn't even have a trip in the red zone last week. We were awful on offense last week. This week, we actually moved the ball with regularity. This felt more like the Giants game, more like the Falcons game. The difference in those games is that we found pay dirt. We finished drives. We did not finish drives in this game. Had a field goal blocked, had 4 red zone trips, came away with 0 points. We fumbled 4 times, lost 1 of them. That's losing football. Yes, we're 2-5. That's what 2-5 teams do. But make no mistake about it, from where we've come from, and again, we didn't expect to be there in the first place, which is probably the most frustrating thing for most of us fans, is that we didn't expect to be in this position that we're in, but we have to acknowledge that we're here. This is who we are right now. From where we came, let's call it week 2. Starting with week 2, I thought the defense, even though we weren't great, we got killed in time of possession. We only gave up 20 points in that game to the Chargers. There still was hope defensively after that game. It was like, what the hell was that, guys? Well, we'll bounce back next week against the Giants. We'll be fine. We didn't know we were garbage on defense yet. Then week 2 came, and Daniel Jones had one of his best offensive showings as a pro, and we barely won the football game. You're like, starting to get worried about this defense now. But we won. Week 3, you're like, okay, this is a death mission right here. This is a suicide mission. We're gonna go in here, we're gonna get our clocks clean, and then we need to recalibrate. And we did. Everything I thought was gonna happen happened. Then you come home and you say, okay. Or you go on the road to Atlanta, and you say, okay, gotta have this one. The Falcons aren't good. I'm not saying we're great, but we need to win this game. And we did, but the defense was bad again. And then you go, okay, we got a problem on our hands. This defense is not good. And it felt like from that point forward, defensively, we've given ourselves a chance every week, defensively. And the offense has slowly but surely gotten worse every week up until this week. So I'm encouraged. The defense is trending upwards, and the offense stopped its slide downward. It didn't necessarily go back up because they didn't put points on the scoreboard, but it was going this way. Now it's like, maybe next week, if the defense keeps going, and the offense is going, and they start to reach, we got wins. We'll see. That's all I can hope for. All right. See if we got more super chats. The BHHD Washington report. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, the BHHD Washington report writes, "Sup, Lou? That loss stung. I don't know why this loss in particular stung for you guys. We weren't supposed to win this game. You know what loss stung for me? And I've told you this, and we're different people, so I can't speak for you. I can't tell you what loss should or shouldn't sting. The loss that stung for me was the Saints, because we should have beat the Saints. We weren't supposed to beat the Chiefs. We weren't supposed to beat the Packers. Now, both of those games were winnable, but we're not good enough to win those games. And you have to acknowledge those things. There were people saying, hey, here comes the upset. I'm like, why would you think that? What has given you any empirical proof that we're in a position mentally or physically to pull an upset against the Green Bay Packers? Nothing has been shown to me that we're ready for that. Now, I look at this team and I say, we're capable of beating Denver next week. It's not a guarantee. It's not a given. But much like against the Saints, I'm going to go into this game fully expecting to win, because I think we're better than Denver right now. Truly do. Will we prove it on the field? I don't know. I can't say. But if we play the way we played today, but we finish drives, we'll beat Denver. And not only will we beat Denver, we will destroy the Broncos. But again, I'm not looking to destroy anybody at this point. I just want to get one more point than that team does on the scoreboard. That's it. When it's all said and done, when it's all over. Anyway, he says, I still won today. I bet a friend that Terry would outperform Tay, and he did, thankfully, but I'd trade $50 for a win. I was not shocked. I told you guys I thought Terry today would have a bounce back game. I felt that coming. The secondary of the Packers was very banged up, and I figured we'd be able to take advantage of that and exploit them. I also thought that they would try their best to take away Devontae Adams, and they did. Like, again, Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams, they were non-factors really in this game. Adams had a couple of plays, had the big one down the sidelines, but, it had the touchdown grab early, but he really wasn't like, I thought this could be one of those Keenan Allen days. Oh, shit. 11 catches, 172 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Like, I thought that could be one of those types of days, and it wasn't. Aaron Jones was a non-factor. I don't even know if he had 20 yards receiving, and I don't think he had 50 yards rushing. Let me look. He was a non-factor. I know that much. Aaron Jones had 6 carries for 19 yards, so shut him down, and 5 catches for 20 yards. So just on the head, 20 yards receiving. Like, I thought what we did to him was phenomenal. I thought our run defense today was excellent. This is the second week in a row, maybe even third, because Kamara had a really good run for a touchdown. But outside of that, I thought we stopped the run against the Saints. Like I've already said this. I feel like I'm a broken record. I need to stop repeating myself. The defense is trending in the right direction. We're stopping the run. We're doing better jobs of taking away what the other team wants to do, some of their go-to guys. Now we're getting pressure on the quarterback a little bit more frequently, disrupting the timing and rhythm of the offense. It's just a matter now of getting some takeaways and the offense capitalizing on opportunities. That's where we're at right now. I really feel like that. Stephen Grinkley, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Stephen Grinkley writes, let me make sure I didn't, Hey, Lou. What's up, Stephen? How much different would this game have been if we still had Peyton Barber? Not much. I don't know. I can't say. Again, do I think some of the play calling has changed because Barber's no longer here? Maybe. I think there was a clear emphasis last year. Hey, short yardage situations, let's get Peyton Barber in there. I don't think there's a guy on the squad right now that they truly say, hey, this guy's not going to be denied on 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1. There's I guarantee you, if we had Peyton Barber, there's not a quarterback sneak being done there. Not to say that it would have worked and that somebody doesn't knife into the backfield and tackle Peyton Barber for a 1-yard loss. But last year, we didn't have these problems. Goal-to-goal situation, and you just turn around and hand it to Barber. He's going to find a way in the end zone. Maybe the game is different. Maybe we don't fail on 3rd and 2 and then 4th and 2 in this game. Maybe. I'm not going to play that game. I'm not going to be petty because Peyton Barber, has a specific set of skills, and it is what it is. I'm not going to be petty over that. But you know how I feel about Peyton Barber, same way I feel about the kicking situation. I've already stated that. But could he have made a difference? Maybe. I don't know if Scott Turner is getting him the ball this year or not, though. That's the difference. That was last year. This is this year. I don't know if Peyton Barber, with the quarterback situation the way it was last year, running was the option on 3rd and 4th and short. This year, because they got a quarterback that they know can make some things happen, or at least they think that can make some things happen, maybe Scott Turner is not giving the ball to Peyton Barber anyway. That's the thing I can't say with any kind of certainty. Is he going to even get the rock? Rob Yu, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Rob Yu writes, I wish there was a way to get more snaps for Settle. I mean, I don't really know how to respond to that because I don't feel like Tim Settle, if given more snaps, is XYZ player, I mean, it is what it is. He got a ton of snaps last year and he took advantage of those snaps, but I don't know if Settle getting more snaps means Settle's going to be a true difference maker. If they thought that, I think they would find ways to get him on the field, but I can't say what is or what isn't the case. It'd be nice if they could get him on the field, but there are a lot of situations in which they go 5 down linemen, 3 defensive tackles. If they really loved him that much, take Deron Payne off the field or take Jonathan Allen or Ioannidis off the field sometimes and put Settle in there. But I mean, it is what it is. I like our guys. Settle getting on the field more would be great, but I'm not clamoring for it. Metaphor. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Metaphor. Double up. Writes. No fumble out of half. D only gives up 17 to Aaron. Again, I don't know if we just go 3 and out and punt, they don't still get a touchdown there. But to your point, that fumble out of the half definitely made it a lot easier for the Packers to get a touchdown. Like I said, this was a winning effort by the defense. You give up 24 points, 7 of which, as you just mentioned, came via, great field position that they took advantage of. They still had to take advantage of it. The defense wasn't required to give up a touchdown after that fumble, right? They weren't required to give that up. They did, though. The 4th down, defense wasn't required to give up a 4th down touchdown to Devontae Adams, but they did. But to hold the Packers to 24 points, you feel like you should have a chance to win the game. Really, you hold any team in this league to 24, you should have a chance to win. You shouldn't lose by 2 touchdowns when you hold the opposition to 24. That's not how this is supposed to work. So that's disappointing in itself. I can tell you this. I can say this with 100% certainty. I feel this way. Had Ron known the defense was going to hold up for 4 quarters, he kicks field goals instead of going for it on 4th down 4 times. But Ron had no idea. He thought, okay, at some point, they're going to do what the Chiefs did last week, and they're going to score points. So I need to make sure that we score points. But if Ron would have thought to himself, hey, this defense, if this were last year's defense, Ron would have settled for the field goals because he said, our defense is going to give us a chance to win. And they did. He just didn't know he was getting last year's defensive or maybe the start of this year's defense. But he didn't know. He couldn't have known, and I don't blame him for that. The BHHD Washington report. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, John Allen's contract looking like a steal. John's playing his ass off. That's for sure. I'm happy for him, and I'm happy that we're getting production out of him. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Once again, writes, my thing is, if a quarterback doesn't pop up in the draft that they love, we might be in trouble next season too. I don't see them re-signing Fitz. TH is a backup. We might have to trade. And what do you think, Landon? What do you think about Landon today? Talked about Landon already today. I thought Landon was fantastic today. Thought Landon was flying around the field. This is the Landon Collins we signed up for. Box safety / linebacker, flying around, blitzing, getting to the football, making tackles for loss, recovering fumbles. That was Landon Collins today. He was so active. That's what we want to see moving forward. As far as the quarterback position is concerned, I don't want them reaching for a quarterback in the draft. If they don't love one, don't draft one. But it's tough because you got to do something at quarterback, right? Like you can't just run it back with the guys that we have and expect different results. So they're in a tough bind because maybe they do love a quarterback. Maybe they don't. We'll see. But it's not a great year to need a quarterback. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Metaphor writes, D-line great, except it disappeared at the end of half. It seemed like the Packers were able to move it relatively easy on that final drive. Some of that, though, I don't even know if it was a lot of tempo going on there. It's always a little bit dicey down the stretch of a half because you get that tempo going. You're not allowed to substitute. Guys get tired. You're staying in base stuff. You're not getting creative. You're not doing some different looks. Because they're moving with tempo. You got to go to your base stuff. You know, you're getting plain Jane calls. It's easier for the offense to dissect. Okay, cover 2, cover 3, because that's all you're playing. You're not playing things with different adjustments and blitzes and schemes and looks. You can't get exotic a lot of times in tempo situations. So they didn't get home down the stretch of the first half. That sucked, but it is what it is. Rob, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, decision making and high throws by Taylor. Shaking my head. I didn't think that his decision making was terrible today. There were a couple of decisions where you go, Taylor, what are you doing? Including trying to get J.D. McKissick decapitated twice on balls, as you mentioned, that were high. But just don't throw that football. There's a defender waiting on him, even if he catches it. Like don't put him in that position to get clobbered like that. And then the high throws, they were an issue today. That was definitely a problem, and there were missed opportunities because of it. Terry went and got one, climbed the ladder and got one. But had that thing been where it should have been, Terry would have caught that ball with probably 7 yards of space between the nearest defender. But because he had to climb the ladder, that guy was able to then get into the picture and make a tackle. And Terry was only able to get like 2 or 3 yards after the catch. Then there was another on a little skinny post backside where he's high and the safety almost picked it off. He puts that on the money. Terry might be able to jaunt into the end zone there, So it's just little subtleties like that, and we ultimately don't get anything on that drive because the field goal gets blocked. It's just little subtleties like that. You bring that ball down, Terry catches it in stride. I don't know if Darnell Savage is able to stop Terry from getting in the end zone, but instead it's off his hands, off of the safety's hands, and incomplete. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Fat American, writes, I know I sound like I'm being a Debbie Downer, but I am happy with the gradual improvements I'm seeing. Hopefully it continues and carries over. No, it's not being a Debbie Downer. We are 2-5. It's a bitter pill to swallow that literally you're in a win or your season's over scenario in week 8 against the Broncos on the final week of October. Like, that's not where we should be. Nobody wants to do that when you win the division and you got high aspirations for a team and you're sitting there the final game of October saying, if we don't win this game, our season's done. That's frustrating. That's frustrating. So, yeah, you're not being a Debbie Downer. And, some of the things that are being said, you're like, okay, you guys are being a little extra, but that's all out of frustration. And I get that. I'm a fan of the team too. So I know where it's coming from. I know the root of the issue. So I can acknowledge that you guys are upset and you have every right to be. The fact of the matter is, yeah, we do need a quarterback. We need a quarterback. It'd be nice to be healthy though, too. I'd love to see this offense with Curtis Samuel involved. De'Ami Brown injured himself again today. Again, I've said this from the jump. And, football is one of those sports where if a guy can go, he goes. No questions asked. And I'm not here to second guess. But De'Ami clearly was compromised last week and the week before that. When he sustained the injury, I think that came against Buffalo. And he didn't play against Atlanta. And then we got him back for the Saints game. And he left on the first possession of that game. Now, he ultimately came back, but he left the first possession of that game. And then he played last week, but he got hurt again last week, but he stayed in the game. I'm like, is De'Ami really okay? Or should we just sit him down and try to get him back healthy? But when you're 2-4 and you're already down a couple of guys at the receiver position and you're hurting, you're not looking at rest guys to get them healthy. You're like, yo, if you can play, can you play? All right, get your ass out there. At the end of the day, there are gradual improvements being made. Whether you want to acknowledge that or not, they're being made. And eventually, if they continue to be made, they're going to start to manifest themselves into victories. Here's why. Because we're not playing Buffalo. We're not playing the Chargers. We're not playing the Chiefs. We're not playing the Green Bay Packers anymore. That's why. Because you're going to be playing the Broncos and the Panthers and the Seahawks and the Eagles and the Giants and the Raiders. You're going to be playing teams that these types of efforts may actually be good enough to beat these types of teams because they look a lot like us. The Panthers benched Sam Darnold today, and they scored 3 whole points against the Giants. These are the types of teams we've got left on the schedule. We won't be playing the Aaron Rodgers-led Green Bay Packers every week moving forward. We won't be playing Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills moving forward. We're getting better, and the schedule is getting easier. That's a recipe for success. Now, again, we could revert back to playing how we played against Buffalo or how we played against the Saints or how we played against, this team or that team where we looked pretty bad. We can revert back to that. We're not out of the woods by any stretch of the imagination. But if we continue to improve the way we have the last 3 weeks and the offense gets better and we get guys back from injury and we start looking up and it's Denver and Teddy Bridgewater on the schedule and not Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, and we look up and Tom Brady and the Buccaneers are still left on the schedule. I'm aware. But if we start looking up and we see, the Seahawks are 3-7. Now, Russell Wilson's back, but they stink. Why not? On a Monday night at home, why not us? Sam Darnold or Phillip Walker at quarterback for the Panthers. Why not us? I know y'all are afraid. All of y'all are shaking in your boots over Dallas. I'm not. It's family business. F the Cowboys. We could be 1-12, and I still think we could beat their ass. So I look at the schedule, and I say, man, we're playing better. And the schedule's getting better. Why not us? But you know what? That's only good if you start winning some damn games. And this wasn't one that I was expecting to win. Neither was last week. This is one that I expect to win. If you can't win the ones, that's why the Saints one hurt so damn bad. If you can't win the ones that you're supposed to win, you're not going to win very many. Here's another opportunity to win a game that I'm not saying we should win. Like Vegas isn't going to say, hey, Washington should go to Denver and win. Like I wouldn't be shocked if the Broncos are 2-point favorites in that game or something like that, or it's a pick'em game essentially. And so because the Broncos are home, they get 3 points. I wouldn't be shocked by that. Broncos are 1.5-point favorites when that line opens. I wouldn't be shocked, and I don't care. We should beat them. Will we? Is the question. Metaphor. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Metaphor writes, no moral victories, but we had he said, no moral, but we had a morale victory. Confidence. You can only get confidence by winning. You can only get confidence by winning in this league. Your confidence can grow as an individual, even without a win. As an individual player. As a team, you only get confidence by winning. You can't go with the old Brian Orakpo. We just went toe-to-toe with the Seattle Seahawks, one of the best teams in the league. Yeah, but you lost, bro. Like that shit don't fly in this league. You, as a player individually, you go out, you play well, you stroke it if you're Taylor Heineke or you're Dax Milne and you have a couple of grabs and you say, shit, I can do this, man. I can play in this league. Yeah, you can have some morale victories in that sense. But as a team, there is no morale if you're not winning. Winning is the absolute greatest antidote. Nobody really cares about individual achievements or, hey, we gave it a run against Aaron Rodgers. Nobody cares about that. You got to win games. So, slightly disagree with you there. I see where you're going there, but nah, I'm not buying that one yet. Mikey Kakaza, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Mikey writes, hey, Lou, sup, Mikey? Can't believe it, but you were spot on when you said Terry was going to get 7 grabs for 122. LOL. Uncanny. I just threw a random number out there. I thought he would have like 7 or 8 grabs. Like that wasn't by accident. Now, the 122 was a random ass number I threw out there. I didn't even know he finished with 122 yards. I just threw a random number out there. I thought he would go over 100 today. The Packers secondary was banged up. And Scott Turner said on Thursday, and when people say things like this, they're telling you this shit is not happening this week. He said, Terry's a good player, and it's not for lack of trying. It's not for lack of opportunities. He's led the team in targets the last 2 weeks, but he said I can assure you he's not going to have 4 catches for whatever yards. Not going to have another game with 4 catches. He said that on Thursday. I'm saying, okay, Terry's going to have a big day on Sunday. And then I looked at the Packers secondary with all the injuries and all the young guys. I was, oh yeah, he's going to eat well this week. And he did. I expected that. Now, again, the 122 part, I couldn't have predicted that. I just threw a random number out there. I would love to take credit for it, but I can't. But I'll take it. Thank you for the super chat, Mikey Kakaza. Let's see. Sean, HTTR forever. Thank you for the super chat, and thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Louie, please stop praising Heineke. No, I'm not going to stop praising Heineke. Okay. Just like I'm not going to stop talking about Ron's plan. Okay. He's He's still throwing inaccurate passes. He's still late on throws. He's constantly not getting better every week. Again, we see it differently. Okay. I will grant you, he's not always on time. I think that's one of the things that is really hurting him. He's a young quarterback, though. He's a young quarterback. He's a young quarterback. 6 or 7, where are we? 7, 8 career starts to this point for him in the league. I'd love it if he just jumped in there and started firing BBs and darts all over the place. For you guys, for some of you, I shudder to think what you're going to do to a young rookie quarterback that comes in here and struggles. I guess he's going to be trash after 4 or 5 starts, and he's throwing passes inaccurately, and he's late on some throws. I guess he's going to be trash too, despite the fact that he's only started a handful of games in the league. He's going to be trash as well. And you know what? That shouldn't surprise me, because those were the same people calling Dwayne Haskins trash after, and he turned out to be trash. Granted, and I never wanted him here. Let's set the record straight. But I wanted to see more of him because he showed flashes. But that's nor here nor there. The bottom line is Heineke did some good things. You can focus on the inaccurate passes. What about the accurate ones? Guess he didn't have any of those today. Huh. He had some accurate throws too. Thought he stood in there tall at times, took some shots. I thought he got out of there at times, used his legs. Again, on the Terry touchdown, you can't do it much better than that. Guy draped all over your shoulder. You shrug him off, get off me, step up, reset your feet, and deliver a dime to Terry down the field for a touchdown. Again, no, he wasn't perfect. No, he didn't make all the throws. Yeah, he threw another bad red zone interception. I'm aware of all of these things. But he also did some really good things. And he also put us in a position to score. He just didn't finish drives. You know what, though? Other guys can do some things to help finish drives off, too. It's not just 4. How come we're the team that gives up 5 broken tackles and a guy gets into the end zone? Why are our guys always falling and tripping over their own damn feet? Antonio Gibson gets a big-ass hole. He squids through it, and now it's just him and the safety, and he trips and falls. Why can't our guys keep their feet and make a play? Why does it always have to be number 4? He's not the only guy here. Somebody's got to make a play. Heineke can be better. He needs to be better. But he did some good things. He wasn't all bad. Last week, if you would have made that comment, I wasn't praising him anyway last week or the week before that. But if you'd have made that comment last week or the week before, I said, you know what? You're right. Heineke was awful today. He wasn't today, though. This isn't the week to bash Taylor Heineke. He wasn't terrible today. He wasn't great. He wasn't terrible, though. He gave us a chance. We didn't finish drives, and it wasn't just Heineke that didn't finish drives. This team didn't finish drives. So, let's see. William Lee, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, William Lee. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, play calling was inefficient yet aggressive. I can live with an aggressive loss. At least we showed pride. I can live with losses that come where we fight, and we fought today. We fought. That's what I said about the team last year. It was like, look, say what you want about this team. We may not have a ton of talent. We may have one of the worst quarterback situations in the league, but we fight. And that's one thing I can get behind as a fan, is a team that fights every week. We fought today. We really did. Even on the mistakes, we fought. You know, DeAndre Carter fumbles. Taylor Heineke's hustling. He recovers the fumble. Antonio Gibson fumbles. Chase Roullier hustling on the play. You know, you're thinking the Packers pounced on it. They didn't. Chase Roullier recovers. How many times did the offense fail in the red zone? Defense comes on the field and says, all right, this shit stops here. They could have easily laid down like they have in past weeks and allowed a 85, a 95, a 99-yard drive, but it was like, nah, that shit ain't jumping off today. They fought. Even at the end, this game could have ended up 31-10, and that looks a lot worse than 24-10. And, you know, aesthetics are what they are. If you watch the game, a loss is a loss is a loss is a loss. Who cares? 31-10, 20. But the person that didn't watch the game, damn, Washington got their ass whooped again, 31-10. That sounds a lot worse than 24-10. Look, it's still a double-digit loss. It's still a loss. But the defense could have quit and said, hey, we already lost. What difference does it make? But they didn't. Even down to forcing the fumble of the running back, A.J. Dillon, and Landon recovering. Like, they kept fighting. This team fought today. I can respect that. I can get behind that. And if you keep doing that, it's going to result in positive things happening. When you don't fight, there's not much positivity that can be gleaned from any of that. And the ball's not going to bounce your way, or you won't be in a position to take advantage of an opportunity if you're not playing hard, if you're not fighting. We fought today. And if they keep playing the way they played today, I'm telling you right now, we'll beat teams that are lesser than Green Bay. Robert Gamble Jr., thank you for your membership. Stand up, Robert Gamble Jr. You are now officially a member of the MOBB. Greatly appreciate you. Come on in. Mob, you know what to do for Rob. Show him some love. Robert Gamble Jr., welcome. Come on in. You are now a member of the squad. JB Johnson, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy JB writes, Cam Newton doesn't make small mistakes offensively. We are at least 3 and 4, but more likely 4 and 3 under Cam. You got everyone else from Carolina. Why not Cam? Because Cam doesn't fit. One, he doesn't fit this offense. Two, he's not the same Cam. Like, a lot of y'all are still thinking about Cam from 3, 4, 5 years ago. He's not, like, Ron knows Cam best. You think if Ron thought Cam still had that in him, he wouldn't be here already? Ron doesn't want Cam because he knows Cam is a shell of himself. Cam has been a warrior his entire career. Run the football, been physical, finished up. He's a broken man, one. He's not the same dude. Shoulder isn't right, back isn't right, foot isn't right. He's not the same dude. All these surgeries he's had over the years, Ron was there for all of them. He knows. It's excruciating watching Cam throw the football now. It's tough to watch. So, no, like, Cam isn't going to make this team better. He's not. They did everything they could in New England. Now, they didn't have a lot of talent around him. I will grant you that. But they did everything in their power to tailor the offense towards Cam Newton's strength last year. He was awful. Awful. In the first 3-4 weeks, he was great. And then he was awful. You could talk to me about COVID this or COVID that. He was terrible. Period. I don't think he's that dude anymore, JB. I just don't. I think Ron understands that. That's why he's not here. Ron has had ample opportunities. Not one, not two, 3 opportunities to snag Cam up. He's been available 3 different times with us not really being sure about the quarterback situation. And Ron has passed every single time. What does that say about what Ron thinks about Cam? So, no, I don't see it. Michael White, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy, Michael White. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Writes, hey, Lou. What's up, Michael? I believe in Ron's plan, as do I. I think a but is coming, though. But with Fireman Dan watching and them looking like the Three Stooges out there mentally, right or wrong, I'm worried that he will turn Ron's plan into Ron's resume. You know how Dan, and that's the fear, is that Ron doesn't get enough time to see this thing through. I don't think it's going to happen. But that was always my fear with any coach that came here, is that they could come in here with a 4-year plan, but are you going to get to year 4 of that plan to see it through? I think Ron will get there, but you just never know it with Dan. You just never, ever know. So we'll see what happens. But I think it's too early to be talking about anything crazy because he's not going to be fired and he's not, and, I don't think he's quitting or anything like that either. So We'll see what happens. Red Wings 01. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Red Wings 01 writes, run defense looked great. Made Rodgers beat us. Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. Took the run away and said, hey, Rodgers, if you got it, take it. Do what you do. And he did what he did. 3 touchdown passes, extended on a 4th down and made a beautiful play as only, Aaron Rodgers and a select few in the league can. It is what it is. That's Aaron Rodgers, man. That's a bad, bad man. But at the end of the day, you hold the Packers to 24 points. You should have a chance. So, thought the defense did enough. Jay Lee, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Jay Lee, writes, I look dumb wanting Sam Darnold. D. Johnson thoughts. Who is D. Johnson? Danny Johnson? Is that who you're referring to? Thought he played well. I've talked about that already briefly, but I thought Danny Johnson was outstanding today. I want more Danny Johnson. I don't give a shit who's healthy, what's going on. I want more Danny Johnson, not less. Danny's a dog down there. Like, he's one of those dudes that looks like he's trying to make something happen. Look, no one looks dumb for wanting Sam Darnold. He was available. If you were ever a fan of Darnold, then this was a chance to say, you know what? Jets are a terrible organization. Kid just needs another opportunity. Give him a fresh start and see what happens. That's what the Panthers did. If we would have done it, I would have been behind it. I was not looking to do that because I'm not a Sam Darnold fan. Never have been, never will be. But if they would have said, let's kick the tires on this kid and see if his environment was the reason he struggled. Okay, let's do it. He stinks. I thought he stunk coming out of USC, and he stinks. So you don't look dumb. You would have wanted to take a chance. I'm glad we didn't, but they did. JB Johnson, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, JB, who writes, go after Kellen Moore. The league has caught up to Ron and Jack. Plan doesn't matter. There's a reason Carolina cut ties. They got young and innovative. Now, if you want to go that route, I understand. Ron is old school. Ron is what the league is going away from. You're not wrong in that regard. You want to go young and innovative. That's the trend in the league right now, is to get the young, hot offensive coordinator. I don't like Kellen Moore. Dallas is doing some good things this year. I don't like Kellen Moore, though. I'd love to see Kellen Moore with a team with a lot less weaponry and see what he does there. That would really show me if he's really good or not. Hard to really assess just how good he is with a ton of talent out on the field and guys bailing you out when you may make bad play calls. I don't know if I don't think I'm a Kellen Moore guy at all. So, but again, to each his own. If you're a Kellen Moore guy, knock yourself out. I'm a Joe Brady guy. Why? Because even though Carolina's offense stinks this year, I watched Joe Brady with less talent last year in Carolina and no Christian McCaffrey have the Panthers essentially in every single ball game with a chance to win on the road at Kansas City and should have beat Minnesota and this, that, and the third. Every week they were in a game with a chance to win. Offensively, they were moving the football, and they didn't have a lot of stuff. And they had Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback. We know how much of a death sentence that can be at times. And they moved it up and down the field. So I know where you're coming from, but it's Ron's plan for me. I can't focus on anything other than trying to make this thing work that we got going on here. I don't admit a mistake was made until I actually see that one has been. And I can't sit here 7 weeks into Ron's second year here in Washington and tell you that a mistake has been made, because I don't feel that way. Not now. Pop-Tart Timmy, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Pop-Tart Timmy, who writes, I'm just here for the double up. LOL. Well, you got what you bargained for, man. Thank you for the super chat and doubling up, Pop-Tart Timmy. Dewan Porch, double up, thank you for doubling up, Dewan. Greatly appreciate you, who writes, went for it on fourth down too many times, in my opinion. If we hit at least one field goal, it possibly changes the whole dynamic. Sure. I mean, again, I already told you what I think Ron was thinking. And I back Ron 110% in his thought process this week. He thought that the defense was going to do what they did last week. And too many times I find myself saying that Ron thought that this was going to happen because it happened last week. But he's a human being. And as humans, what do? We use past outcomes as future indicators. Okay? So if what happened last week is any indication of what's to come, then I need to prepare myself for such happenings. So he did that. Is that overcompensating? Maybe. But I get it. I know what he was thinking. Was it the right thing? No, it's easy to second guess now in the moment. But I don't have a problem with him saying, look, the Packers can score 34. And we haven't stopped anybody this season other than the Giants and the Chargers. And that was the first 2 weeks of the season. And the Giants, oh, by the way, had 28 or 29 points from scoring 30. Every other opponent we've played this season has scored 30 plus. Falcons, Bills, Saints, Chiefs. So, don't think we're going to, after a fumble to kick off the second half and Rodgers throws a touchdown, don't think we're going to stop them from getting to 30 today. It's 21-7 with about 27 minutes left in the game. You think they're not going to score 9 more points and get to 30? At that moment, who did? Because I thought they were going to score 37 at that point. Not the 34 that I had predicted going into the game. They scored 3 more points after that. Ron couldn't have imagined. Which is a good thing. Because now he's thinking, well, shit, maybe the defense, just maybe the defense is starting to figure some shit out. He could be wrong, and this could be fool's gold. And next week, a Broncos offense that is struggling. And that's an understatement. They score 30 next week. We give up big points to the Broncos next week. We got problems on our hands. Major league problems. Anyway. Look, if and buts were candy and nuts, oh, what a wonderful world it would be. We did go for it. We didn't get it. It is what it is. I'm not going to second guess him here. Derek B. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Derek B. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Writes, case study for loser football across the board. Can't make the kind of mistakes we made today and expect to win. Can't be 0 in the red zone. Can't be 1 of 4 on fourth downs. Can't fumble 4 times even though you only lost 1. That's a recipe for disaster. J Mart, thank you for a super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy J Mart writes, I think we hit a new low on how to lose. This loss is 70, 30, 70 players, 30% on the coaches. Football IQ is really hurting this team. Foundation hit again. I don't think we're the smartest team in the world. I've said that already. There's certain plays that irk me more so than others and maybe irk me more than they probably should. I just watch teams that get it. And I watch defenses that are going after the football. And that's the kind of stuff that frustrates me. You know, but at the end of the day, wherever you place the blame, you choose to place the blame. Fact of the matter is we didn't get it done. As a staff, you know, as players, whomever you want to blame, they didn't get it done. And it's a collective effort. I'm not looking to conquer and divide, you know, or divide and conquer this team. Single out this guy, or that coach or that coach. Everybody needs to be better. Collectively as a unit. It's the only way we're going to get better. Players have to be better. Coaches have to be better. That's what you're hearing from the players. That's the truth, though. And they weren't good enough today. Let's see. HHC Lunar, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Lou, how you feeling about your Atlanta Braves? Great. I told you we would be here. We're here. Now, it's not about getting here. That's half the battle. Now it's finishing the job. Job's not done. We got work to do. The Astros are a hell of a baseball team. They've been here before. They've won here before. We got a lot of work to do, but I like our chances. I like them a lot. Let's see. Z-Dog Boy. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Z-Dog Boy writes, anyone here play Command and Conquer? I don't even know what to do with that. I don't even know if that's a game or what. Thank you for the super chat. T-Roy. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for the contribution. I don't see a comment around here anywhere from you. If I do run into one, I'll probably just hit it. I appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. Here it is one. I'll just read this one. Anybody that says Seals did not get turned during that touchdown pass is full of. I guess I'm full of shit then, Troy, T-Roy. I didn't think he got turned. The hand was on the waist. I didn't think he used that to turn him, to benefit him. I just thought it was there. If that were Washington and they didn't call it, you'd be like, that's a great play by the defender. You can't have it both ways. I just call it the way I see it. And maybe, again, we just saw it differently. But I didn't think he impeded, Ricky Seals-Jones's ability to get to the football. It was a good play. It was a force by Heineke. That guy was not open. And if anything, if you're throwing that to Ricky Seals-Jones, throw it up. Don't throw it out in front of him because that defender can dive forward. But there's only so high he can jump. Ricky Seals-Jones has that, put it into his body where he can go up and get it, but up high, So where he can box out that defender. But whatever, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they didn't make the play. Bottom line, didn't make the play. Derek B, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Derek B. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, we need to fall in love with someone at quarterback, draft or trade. You can't make yourself fall in love. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. You know better than that, Derek B. That's like saying, hey, man, this barber. We had this conversation before about barbers, right? Man, I don't really love the way he cut, but I'm going to make myself fall in love with the way he cut hair. No, that's not how this works. Either you feel in the way that dude blazes somebody's hair or you don't. You're not going to just settle like, I'll learn to love the way this barber cuts my hair. Nah, either you get out of the chair and say, yeah, this shit is fresh right here. I can come back. Or you're like, nah, I'm good. That's one and done. We're not looking to fall in love with somebody. You need to see a quarterback in his love at first sight. Or you put on the tape. Maybe you don't love him initially, but you watch more and more of it and you say, hey, this dude can really play. Either way, you love that guy in the process. You can't take a player and say, hey, we think he's all right. We really don't love him, but maybe we'll get him here and we'll learn to love him. Nah. I don't know if they're going to find a guy that they love and they think is super talented or not. All I want to caution against is us forcing the issue. That's all I'm really looking to guard against. Is if you don't love somebody, don't pull the trigger. Don't pull the trigger. Barrett Downing, thank you for the super chat. Barrett, greatly appreciate you. My guy, BD, thank you for being a member of the MOBB Rights. Allen had an impact today. Does Payne stay with us or we let him go? Did he play today? Respect to you, brother. You're the highlight after this loss. Yeah, Payne played today. Like, I've already said you can't pay everybody. And I think that if you had to let somebody go, Payne would be the one I would let go. Allen is proven that, he can get to the quarterback and that he's a vocal leader in the locker room. So, there's other added value there. Deron Payne is talented, but, it's hit or miss with him. When he's on and he's engaged and dialed in, he's a man beast that few can contain. But We don't see that enough. We don't see him taking over games. We don't see him dominating. We see flashes every now and again, but we don't see it enough, consistently enough. So he'd be one of those dudes I'd be willing to let walk and just draft a new defensive tackle, and just keep it pushing, But we'll see what happens. You can't pay everybody. We know that. So, King Shane, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, King Shane, who writes, I just can't understand how Heineke looks so mad on the sidelines and then gets on the field and remains so disappointed. How he can throw alley-oops to receivers but slide short of the touchdown because he's scared. Shaking my head. All valid points. I get it. I remember I was so hot at Taylor Heineke 2 weeks ago with his performance against the Saints. And I remember I didn't get into it, but somebody after the game was like, no, this loss is on the defense. And I was like, no, this loss, yeah, defense wasn't good enough. I grant you that. But the most blame falls in the lap of Taylor Heineke against the Saints. He was awful in that game. And I remember how upset he was. He was ticked off. I remember there was a run late in that game where he wasn't sliding. Now he's mad now, so he wasn't sliding no more. I was like, oh, get the hell out of here with that bullshit, Taylor. Like, he wouldn't slide now because he was mad. He wanted to make a play. Nah, you done already effed the game up now. So after the run, he gets up. He starts jawing with a defensive back because he's mad now. And I just remember him after that game being so upset. And even on Wednesday, he's like, yeah, I was so pissed off. And I'm still pissed off. And I'm like, all right, well, channel that energy into making some shit happen in the game. And, sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't, So I know what you're talking about. I didn't feel that way today, though. I didn't feel that way today, but I get what you're saying. I know where you're coming from there. And he was scared on the TD slide. He was scared. He didn't want to get hit. He didn't want to, but that's part of him being small. Like every time he gets hit, I cringe because I'm like, he can get hurt. Like, let me ask y'all something. Some of y'all probably wasn't watching, and King Shane already said he turned the game off. So I know you weren't watching. But some of y'all stuck around to the very end. I always stick around to the very bitter end, no matter what the score is. And he ran late in the game, like on the last possession, right around the 2-minute warning or something like that. Maybe it's like 40 seconds left in the game. And it's 3rd and long, and he decides to cut it up, stay in bounds, get the first down, and then he ends up diving and getting hit and takes a little bit of a spill. It wasn't anything major, but he gets up and he's grimacing and he's got a little hitch in his giddy up. And I'm like, see, that's the shit I'm talking about. That wasn't a major hit. But anytime he gets hit, this could be the one because he's so damn small and he seems to be somewhat fragile. And that's the thing with him is just a lot with him, And so when he gets down there towards the end zone, he's like, you don't want to get hit. And you're like, come on, bro. Just stand up. Man up. Stand up. And I guarantee you that safety wasn't going to hit him. Nobody's looking to be $7,500 lighter because Heineke was getting in the end zone. There wasn't anything Darnell Savage could do at that point. He wasn't going to touch him. It was going to be a flyby situation, or he might have pushed him. But he got scared. He got spooked. So, yeah, that's frustrating. It is. I agree with you in that sense, King Shane. I get it. Rob the GOAT. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Rob the GOAT writes, what's up, Lou? What's up, Rob? I understand the defense is not playing to its full potential, but these losses are showing us that we really need a franchise quarterback. Yeah, absolutely. Because even with the way the defense has been playing, we still could be 5-2 right now. Even with the way the defense is playing. You understand what I'm saying? With a franchise quarterback, I know y'all don't want to hear this shit, but if we had Kirk Cousins, okay, we would be no worse than 4-3 right now. I know you don't want to hear that. That's fine. You don't have to hear it. But I'm watching Kirk go out here, and granted, we don't have Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson on our team. Maybe he doesn't look as good in Washington. But he was a franchise dude. And I think with the weapons that we've surrounded the quarterback position with, with J.D. McKissick and Adam Humphries, he would be spreading this shit around. Like Adam Humphries wouldn't have 2 catches for 21 yards. He'd be using the shit out of Adam Humphries. DeAndre Carter would be getting involved. Like Kirk would distribute the hell out of the football. If we had a guy that could distribute the ball, know where to go, and get it out of his hands and timing and rhythm, this offense would be a lot better off. We'd score a lot more points, and we would have won against New Orleans. We would have potentially beat the Chiefs, and we could have won today. Might have even beaten the Chargers as well. To me, there's only one game on the schedule right now that I say we had no chance. That was the Bills game. We weren't going to win. I don't care who was our quarterback. We weren't going to win that game. I don't think so. But every other game, you give us a real quarterback, I don't know. Maybe we win the game. Maybe we don't. Maybe Kirk chokes at the end of the Giants game or the Falcons game. Yeah, maybe it does happen. I've seen Kirk not choke more times than he did choke. But a lot of you, again, don't want to hear that. Anyway, to your point, it just further hammers home the point that we do need a guy at the quarterback position. A dude, if you will. Chris Zacharias, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Washington football team on the cusp of winning some football. HTTWFT. I think so. I think they're on the cusp of winning some games. But again, they've got to remain consistent and carry over what we've seen the last couple of weeks in terms of improvements and continue to get better. It's got to manifest itself into points on the field and wins on the scoreboard, or else it's just me talking. It's just the coaches talking. It's just the players talking. Action has to be taken. Rob the GOAT. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Rob the GOAT. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Rob the GOAT, writes, I say this because if you look at most teams with one, the QB is making up for the bad defensive play around the league. Yeah, you're spot on, Rob. Your quarterback can make up for a lot of deficiencies on your team, not just on the defensive side, but on the offensive side as well. There's a reason why Aaron Rodgers doesn't have elite talent around him. Doesn't matter. Give him one receiver, a quality tight end, and a running back, he'll make it work. He got stuff. He doesn't have elite stuff. Their defense is okay. It ain't great. But Aaron Rodgers makes it all okay. I remember watching the Packers were 0-1, and the Lions, it was either they were 1-1 or 0-1. And it was either week 2 or 3. And the Lions marched in there on a Monday night and was going up and down the field on Green Bay's defense. The only reason they weren't getting their doors blown off was because Aaron Rodgers and that offense was responding to everything they were doing. And so when the Lions defense or offense finally realized, oh, we're the Detroit Lions, what are we doing moving the football with ease and regularity? The Green Bay Packers offense said, well, here's our cue. We got to go. We're going to go ahead and take off here and leave you at 14. But it was pretty cool matching scores with you, though, early on when you were trying to keep up with us. That's what an offense and a quarterback can do for you. He made some dumb throws in that game, too. Just ridiculous throws. Where you go, oh, that's why he's AR-12. That's why he's one of the best. Rick Quick. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Rick Quick writes, Louie, is there a difference between playing hard and playing smart, and his team plays too dumb too much? Yeah, there's a difference between playing hard and smart. You could play as hard as you want, but if you play dumb football, it doesn't matter. You're going to cancel out all of the hustle that you're doing. And so there is a fine line between the two. Absolutely. Yeah, you can play hard and still not be a smart football team. And there's been times where we've been a victim of that, where we've played hard, but we haven't played smart enough. Today, there wasn't a lot of penalties. It wasn't a lot. It was just mistakes, a lot of mistakes. And I wouldn't categorize them as dumb mistakes as much as mental mistakes. And some of them, it's a mentality. It's less than, oh, we're just not smart. Like Benjamin St. Juice's first move is to knock the ball down. Like you've got to rewire his brain to pick it off. Like he's literally got to have the ball coming to him to think, I need to pick this off. Like if he's got to extend outside of his frame, he's going to try and knock it down. That's his mentality. That's not dumb as much as it is. That's how he views that particular play. I should knock this down. No, you should pick it off. Taylor Heineke didn't think he was giving himself up at the half-inch yard line. He thought he was diving in for a touchdown. Like, he didn't do that intentionally. He just was trying to protect himself all the while scoring a touchdown. If he dives differently, it's a touchdown. We're not having this discussion. If he dives with his legs parallel instead of him sliding down as he's diving, it's a touchdown. We're not having this conversation. There weren't a lot of boneheaded mistakes by this team. We've seen boneheaded mistakes with this team in previous weeks. That wasn't the case today. I thought they played hard, and for the most part, I thought they played smart enough. We didn't execute. That's the problem. We didn't execute well enough. Matthew, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Matthew, writes, if we beat Denver and we win 6 of our last 8, and I believe, and 9 and 8 with the first place schedule is major with new quarterback and with little experience and no left tackle and no LT and CS. No LT. What's LT? Are you talking about left tackle? And CS. And no Sam Cosmi? And that's not Sam Cosmi. That's SC. CS, I don't know. And, Curtis Samuel. Okay, Curtis Samuel is CS. And no LT. Logan Thomas. I'm assuming that's what those two are. Logan Thomas and Curtis Samuel. Yeah, I mean, look, I just want to win one. I've gone through the schedule with you guys. I've gone through that exercise in futility. I'm not going to sit here and talk about us winning 6 out of our final 8 or anything. If we beat Denver, this, that. Let's just beat Denver first and see where it goes. I've already laid out to you guys that the schedule is doable. So you know how I feel. But again, the schedule can be doable and we can still lose. All right. The Saints were very beatable. We still lost. The Chiefs were very beatable. We still lost. You know, the Packers were very beatable. And these were games, Chiefs and Packers both, were 2 games that were before the season started. And even as we got into the season, I'm like, there's no way we're beating either one of those teams. And then we get in the game and we're like, hey, these 2 teams are really beatable. We didn't beat them. The Broncos are very beatable. We don't have to beat them. So we'll see. But if we get anywhere in the 8-9 win range, it's a win, especially for where we came from this season. So we'll see what happens. Got a super chat here from Ishmael Benitez. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, this team puts on a hell of a show for the neutral. Reminds me of the Bucks with Winston. Yeah. They do good things, and all of a sudden the wheels fall off. You're not wrong. I think that's a really good depiction of where we've been as an organization, stands for that last year of Gruden, you know, where we were just awful. This team does a great job of being stuck in neutral, just like the Bucks were. Like you said, with Winston, he'd have games where you like convinced, like he's definitely worthy of the number 1 overall pick we spent on him if you're a Bucks fan. And in their games where you go, we win that game if he's not our quarterback because he just threw 3 interceptions. And there'll be games where Winston played him in the game, but then also played him out of the game. And then they'd look up at the end of the season and they'd be 7-9 or they'd be 8-8. Best case scenario, 9-7. But there are a lot more 7-9s and 8-8s than anything else. And you just find yourself stuck in mediocrity. And that's kind of where we've been, even going back to Jay Gruden. We won the division at 9-7. Then we lost a chance at the playoffs at 8-7-1. Then I think the next year after that, he was 9-7 or 7-9 again. Then after that, he got canned, and we ended up being 3-13. Right? I think that's how it went. 15, 9-7, 16, 8-7-1, 17, 7-9, 18. That was the Alex Smith year. So what do we go? 7-9 again, right? I think. And then, obviously 19 is what it is. You get Ron, first year, 7-9 again. And, we make the playoffs. And here we are again, probably going to be somewhere in that 7-8 win range. So stuck in neutral. I think that's a great comparison. John, Ishmael, thank you for the super chat. Sean HTTR forever. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Sean who writes, Louie, he's known the playbook for 4+ years. I grant you that. I grant you that. He knows the playbook. I'm not saying that he doesn't know where to go with the football. I'm talking about the speed of the game. It's one thing when you know the playbook, but you're practicing it. He's not playing in games. You can know the playbook all you want, but the speed of the game, that's why he's late on throws and he's behind. It's faster than when he was at ODU playing against Liberty. Like, it's different now. He says having not a lot of starts has nothing to do with him not throwing the ball on time. Let's keep it 100. I'm telling you, what's the difference? In college, that ball was on the money. In the NFL, where the speed of the game is faster, yes, that does make a difference. You see a lot of guys miss throws where they don't anticipate or the ball's slightly off here and could have been a bigger gain. Why is that? Because the timing isn't correct. Why is the timing off? Because shit is moving at a much faster speed than what that person's accustomed to. You get that kind of stuff with repetition. Only reps can duplicate. Practice can't duplicate that. You're talking about 4+ years? 4+ years where? On the sidelines taking mental reps? Or are we talking about on the field, on the job training? That's the only way you get better. That's the only way you get timing and rhythm down. It's with reps. He wasn't getting reps in Minnesota and Carolina. He only started getting reps here in Washington. You got to understand that. And if you don't understand it, I can't help you. I can't help you. Thank you for the super chat, Sean HTTR for life. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Metaphor writes, I want more Carter returns. Everyone had promised. I want more Carter punt returns. I don't want any more kickoff returns. Kickoff returns means we just gave up another touchdown or field goal. So I'll take some more punt returns for sure. Bigger TV, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Gibson ain't that dude. Not one big game from him yet. I'm not giving up on Gibby. He's been disappointing this year, though. And he's dealt with some injuries, man. Like, it's hard being a running back, especially when you're dealing with shit, But is he that guy? I don't know. It's hard to really assess. You know it when you see it. When you see Joe Mixon or you see Dalvin Cook and, Christian, it when you see it. Alvin Kamara, when you see it. And I'm not sure. I'm not giving up on him, though. And I know he's dealing with his shin and the shoulder, and he's dealing with a lot. There's some talent there for sure. But is he that dude? I'm not sure. I'm not willing to say he's not, but I can't say that he is either. I was hoping for a lot more out of him this year, but it hasn't gone that way yet. So, just that 75 yard screen for the touchdown, that's all you need to know about how talented he is and how big of a difference maker he can be is that play right there. I think there's more of that in him. So I'm not willing to give up on him. Let's see. We got any more super chats? Got one here from Brandon Hayes. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Brandon Hayes writes, If was a fifth, the rest. Yes, I do. He said, you got a lot of ifs, bro. LOL. Why is Gibby just a running back, not a flex player? Could you imagine him with Andy and the Chiefs? Imagine him anywhere else that is really creative and innovative in their usage of players that have a dynamic skill set. Imagine him in New Orleans with Sean Payton. The fact of the matter is, I don't think we do a good enough job of getting guys in creative positions. I don't think that's who we are offensively. But I'm going to remain resolute in the fact that I don't think Antonio Gibson is as dimensional as you guys think. I've said that he's not a natural hands catcher. He's not a quicks guy. You know, he's not breaking somebody off at the stem of a route. He's stiff. He's fast in a straight line. He's physical. He's big, but he's a different type of athlete. He's not J.D. McKissick. So it's hard to split him out and say, all right, break a dude off and get open. That's not who Antonio Gibson is. So I don't necessarily know if it's him that I'm worried about. And it's more of J.D. McKissick. And we'll see what happens when Curtis Samuel comes back. But it's more about those guys that I'm like, okay, let's see what we do with that kind of an athlete. Because we've seen how those guys can be utilized when properly, deployed. Let's see if we can get Curtis Samuel the most out of him when he gets healthy. Michael White, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Michael White writes, double up. I don't think this is 2 from Michael. Thank you for doubling up. Says, if Vikings cut ties with Kirk, you think he would come back? I don't know. I don't know if he would come back. Like, he didn't get along with Bruce Allen. I don't know what his relationship was with Dan. I don't think he was really the biggest fan of Dan either. So from that, standpoint, I know Ron Rivera would take him in a heartbeat. But I don't know if that's something that would be, appealing to Kirk Cousins or not. Hard to say. All right. So that is it. That's the final super chat. And that's another loss in the books for the Washington football team. That was the last game of what I thought was the toughest stretch of football for us this season. Now, I'm not saying the rest is easy, smooth sailing. I'm just telling you, every week I'll think we have a chance. And that includes Tampa Bay. I think if we come back after that bye week, we're healthier. Now, that is only hinging upon a win, of course, in week 8 versus Denver. We win that game, and we get healthier over the bye week, and we get a bunch of guys back, Sheriff and Cosme and Curtis Samuel and Logan Thomas and Cam Sims and De'Ami Brown. All these guys come back after the bye week. And we got a whole different looking ball club. And we're healthy for the first time in forever. I'm not going to be afraid of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers off the bye week. And the defense is playing better. I'm not going to be afraid of them. They may kick our ass. I've always said, you don't have to be afraid to get your ass beat. That's not a prerequisite, okay? You can be fearless and get your ass stomped. But it's nice to not be scared. It's nice to go into a game thinking, why not? We can beat them. We can play with these boys. These last 2 weeks, I didn't have any hope going into the game. We can't play with these teams. And we did play with them. It would have been nice to have some hope going into the game so that I wasn't sitting there waiting for the other shoe to drop all game. It would have been nice to go into these games with a little bit of confidence as a fan thinking, hey, let's go beat these chumps. Instead of thinking, all right, when's the ass whooping coming? I know the shit is lurking around the corner and be peeking. Where's the ass whooping at? I know you out there ass whooping somewhere. Where you at? Come on out. You don't have to hide anymore. I know you're out there. I'm not looking for the ass whooping unless we the ones dishing it out next week. I'm not looking for the ass whooping next week. I'm looking for the dub. Where you at? I'm looking for the Joe Flacco / Jameis Winston. I'm looking for that next week. And if I get it, if we get it, then I'm looking at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and I'm saying, are y'all with it? We'll see. But we competed. And I walked away from this game really excited about what the rest of the season could be if we continue to build upon what we've been doing of late. The mistakes, they're frustrating. They're correctable. They're correctable. So, feel really good. Sucks to lose. It sucks when you only give up 24 to the Packers and you can't find a way to win. But I'm encouraged, to say the least. That's going to do it for me, your man, Louie Tee. Thank you guys for joining me. If you haven't already done so, please hit the subscribe button for more great content. Turn on your notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And also, make sure that you hit the like button on the way out. Helps this channel grow immensely. Only 200 and some odd likes, over 400 of you out there. We can do so much better than that. Anyway, that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T. We got one more super chat on the way out that I'm going to take, and it's from Joe Rockhead J. Thank you for the super chat, Joe Rockhead J, who writes, why do opponents' weaknesses disappear against us? Because we're not good enough to take advantage of their weaknesses and build upon our strengths. So this is a copycat league, as you know, and you try to mimic what other teams have done to have success against certain teams. But what happens when you don't have the same personnel as that team does to get the job done, or you don't have the football IQ of the team that just was able to hold this team to that many points, or this team to, 3 of 13 on third downs. When you don't have those players, you don't have that mindset or that mentality, it shows. When you lack execution, which we've lacked execution all season long. And if you want to blame that on the coaching staff, go right ahead. Because some of that does fall in the lap of the coaching staff. When guys don't execute and you continue to put those same guys on the field, either you're going to start to execute, or I'm going to get somebody out there that can, or at least die trying. But we haven't executed. And some of that is on the players. You could talk to a player until his face turns blue. But in the heat of the moment, if he can't get it right, sometimes that's not on the coach. But yeah, that's been a problem that I've struggled with this year. Why is it that every team that struggles, oh, this team hasn't done this all season long? Well, they do it against us. It's starting to not feel that way now, though. The last few weeks, it's felt a little bit differently. So we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, I digress. I'm going to get out of here, allow you to finish up the second half of games and get into Sunday night football. And I'll be back for Sunday night overtime. And if not, I'll see you guys. If you don't join me for that, I'll see you guys on Monday for Washington Football Nightly. Until then, I'm your man Louie T, signing off, saying God bless and good night.
Louie Tee Network.